Hello, hello, hello. Welcome, welcome. How are we all doing today? We get started here in about 2 minutes, so I will see you shortly. Gonna let everybody get through the pre-roll here. Good, hype for class. That's awesome, Rascal. Okay, I'll see you in about 2 minutes. All right, hello, hello, hello. Welcome, everyone. Y'all are having a good day. Hello. I have a new large screen here for the intro to this stream, and I have a little friend with me. It is Snarf, and I was happy to see that you were on stream. Yes, this is Little Miss Nyx, NYX. Snarfin named her by using some channel points um, on my previous stream, my gaming stream that I did yesterday? No, it was Saturday. Wait, it was Friday. Yeah, yeah, that I did on Friday evening. Nyx was able to spend her channel points or sorry, Snarfin was able to spend their channel points and name Little Miss Nyx here. So yes, yes. Nyx is a foster kitten. I have a litter of 4 foster kittens right now for the local Humane Society, and yeah, they are great little babies. And 3 out of the 4 of them, three, there we go, 3 out of the 4 of them have been named. Um, so there is still one up for grabs. So if you have the channel, please check out my channel point rewards. If you have enough channel points, you're welcome to name the last little baby. It's another little solid black furred kiddo, except that one has long hair. So yes, she still needs a name. So you're welcome to name her. Yes, yeah, no, they're great. Yeah. So I don't know if you can hear, but she is purring up a storm right now. Let me see if I can get her closer to the mic. I don't think it's picking it up. Ah, dang, the noise cancellation is too good. It's filtering out her purrs, but she's purring super loud. So yes. So yeah, the other ones are named. We have Xenos the World Destroyer. Um, and then we also have Delete. Yes. And then we have Nyx here. So yes. Hey, Scotty, welcome. Yes, yes. Well, and she is Nyx is a great name for her, being the daughter. So Nyx in mythology is the daughter of chaos, I believe. Um, and that's perfect for her because she so far is the only kitten that has figured out how to completely climb out of their enclosure. And so in the morning, what she likes to do is climb out of the enclosure and come and see me on visit me on my bed, and then try to wreak havoc while I'm trying to sleep. So I'm very tired. Because she believes that early mornings are playtime. Yes. So, well, yes, I just wanted to show her to you, and I'm going to go ahead and put her back. And then we can actually get started on the content of the stream. But I definitely wanted her to have some time in the spotlight because she's a very good girl. And thank you to Snarfin for giving her a name. All right, give me 1 second. I will be right back. Okay, and we are back. Meet a kitten cam. Yeah, I've thought about that actually. Setting up a like a camera in my bedroom so I can, especially when I have really small kittens, so that I can watch them. You know, when when there's times I can't be there. I have a camera I could actually set up, and so yeah, webcam. Oh my goodness. Ronan, thank you so much for the subscription. Wow, subscribing with Prime. Thank you so much, Ronan. Yeah, much appreciated. And I I'm gonna assume that that sub was solely because of the kitten and not, screw the content. We got kittens, right? Yeah. Oh, thank you, Ronan. And I also wanted to thank there's somebody else I saw subscribed, Jazzy Pants 420. Great name, by the way. They subscribed a couple days ago. I don't think it was during one of my streams. I think it was between streams. So I just wanted to thank them as well. So thank you, Ronan and Jazzy Pants. And yes, indeed. Oh, and let me get captions going as well. 2 seconds. Nope, that's not the one. Hang on. Get some captions going, and then we will get into the actual content for today. Hey, so you're still in the catch-up crew? That's awesome. Yeah, we love the catch-up crew, and hopefully this video can still be somewhat helpful for you. Just given that today, what we're gonna kind of do is do a bit of a regroup, I guess. Because we have had a break here for the last, what was it? It's been a month, hasn't it? Yeah, it's been a month. And so classes are starting up again. Thursday's class was more of just like a sort of a warm up, right? We didn't really learn anything new, but Leon did emphasize a few things that he wanted us to really make sure that we had done for Tuesday's class, right? Some of it was homework that was assigned before the break, but I'm sure that some folks just took the break off for whatever reason. You don't need a reason. If you needed to take the break off, you took the break off and you just relaxed and you did other things, you accomplished other goals, and that's perfectly fine. But we do want to make sure now is that you're able to get back in and pick it back up and jump back in and succeed just like you were doing before. And I think sometimes that can be hard, right? Because maybe if you didn't do anything over the break, suddenly you are being given this homework assignment and you're like, I don't remember any of these things. I don't know what to do. I don't know where to find this stuff. What are these words? you know? And so what we're going to try to do today is just go over each item on the assignment and say, this is where you find it. And this is what you need to check this item off the list. Yeah. Oh, courses. Yeah, of course. Yeah. This is, I think it's important to, recognize that not everyone has been, not everyone's been watching all my streams. Not everybody's been, uh, studying every day during the break. And because, and that could be for a variety of reasons, right? And maybe you were just burnt out. Like Driftwood says, the best advice I ever received is to take vacation to prevent burnout, not to recover from burnout. Exactly. You want to preempt that, right? And so maybe you needed a vacation, and that's totally valid and fine. What we're going to try to do here is, warm back up, catch back up to speed, and, get you back on your feet so that, you're ready and just can jump right back into class. Because, Leon, he moves fast, right? And so you got to be able to keep up. So that's what we're going to do. Let me switch back to my regular view here. And so um, you might be saying, okay, sure, that's all well and good, but like, what are you even talking about? What homework? Like, what, what? And so in the Discord, um, in the follow along materials channel, if you are new, if you maybe you just joined during the break and maybe you're not used to, class and how and the way it works. So what generally happens is that before and after every class, Leon will make a post in the follow along materials channel, which is right here on the left. I have slightly more categories than some of you do on your Discord, just because I'm on the stream team, so I have access to additional channels. But you will have access to this under the Learn with Leon category. You'll have access to this follow along materials channel here on the left, and this is very important. You should always be checking this channel. And what this will allow you to do is basically Leon before class, he'll post and he'll say, here's what we're going to cover in class, kind of like I do on Twitter for my streams, right? So he'll post here and say, here's what we're going to cover in class. And then after class, he'll basically say, here's what we covered in class. And then here's the homework for next time. So you definitely want to be checking this channel, keeping up with this channel, and monitoring any homework assignments. So he did post some homework here. I don't know if you can see that. It's probably kind of small. Let me zoom in. Let me zoom in. There we go. Okay. So we have, it says homework due, and there are several tasks here. So we're going to go through each of these. Where do I find these things? What are these things? Where do I find them? And we're going to kind of check each one off. And so this may not be a super long stream today. However, I think it's an important one. And I also, I'm not going to introduce anything new on this stream today. Because I think we need to, like Leon always says, you got to focus in. It's tempting at this point in the class to think, I got to get a job. I got to know everything. I got to learn a ton of new stuff and, and just, be the best of the best applicant ever. But I think it's important to focus on specifically what we're being told at this point and what do we need to do. So this is what we're going to focus on tonight. And I'm not going to read aloud story time to you. No. Yeah. And that's a good point. I'm not going to do these things for you. I am, I can't climb the mountain for you, right? And I shouldn't. I can't climb the mountain for you, but I can show you the trail that goes up the mountain to make it a little easier. So that's what I'm going to do. Yeah, no. Yeah, well, I've had folks, and then the reason I clarified that, Driftwood, is I've actually had folks ask me before, so are you going to read the whole thing? Like, are you going to, like for stuff like this, the reading assignment, are you just going to read it to us? No, I'm not going to do that. We're going to go through it, but I'm not going to, just sit there and read the whole thing. Something running up that hill. Yes, great song, by the way. That's a fantastic song. I hadn't heard it before Stranger Things, but really good. Trailblazer, indeed. Yeah, but you still got to go up the trail yourself. That would be a long stream. Yeah. Can lead a horse to water, can't make him drink. Exactly. Exactly. Yes. Okay. So let's start going through these items. All right. So the first one is start prepping the bank. Now, if you're new, you might be like, what the flip is the bank? So So what the bank is, it is a uh, very long and comprehensive list of questions that are related to like sort of the kind of questions you might encounter in a job interview. And so it's a mixture of there's behavioral questions, there's technical questions, there's like general, bog standard, interview type questions like why do you want this job and stuff like that. And the point of the bank is to essentially just help you practice and become comfortable with the kind of things you can and will encounter in an interview. Um, and so, the important thing is Leon wants us to start practicing these questions now so that they're not unfamiliar and you have them down to a science by the time you actually do get that job interview. It obviously means to make sure that your bank account is ready to receive all that money. Yes, Rascal, that too. Yes. Prepare your bank account, indeed. I like that attitude. All right, so that's all well and good, but where do I find the bank? Well, so where you can find the bank is on Twitch. So if you go to Twitch, we're going to start in my channel. We're going to start in my. Oh, it's Inception. Hang on. We're going to go to Leon's channel. There we go. What a long hallway, indeed. Yes. Yeah. So we're going to go to Leon's channel here on Twitch. And obviously Leon is not streaming right now. But what we're going to do is go to the chat. And so you can go to chat while Leon is not live. And what he has in chat is, he has all these commands like you can do on my channel, where you can access documents and information even when he's not live. If we just divide by 0. Yeah. This is probably going to be behind my head. Let me move it, see if I can move it over a little bit. There we go. All right, now you should be able to see. So in chat, if you just type !bank in Leon's chat, oops, there we go. What you get back is a link to the Google Doc. Yeah, and Rascal too. Rascal just typed commands in the chat as well, and that gives you a full list of all the commands that you can use in Leon's chat. But since I just triggered the link, I mean, you might be able to see it. Yeah, there you go. And several other folks are doing it as well. This will give you a direct link to the Google Doc with the bank. And so you can go into that Google Doc, you could copy it, and you can move it to your own Google Workspace or download it or print it, I don't care. But what that'll do is that'll give you your own version that you can, fill out as you go. Yeah, Mavi has also linked it as well. I would suggest but just know that at any time you can go into Leon's chat and you can use those commands and get those documents, if you need fresh links or for any reason, or if he gives you anything new, any new sorts of things that you can download or whatever. You can go into Leon's chat even when he's not live, use the commands and get that stuff. So the bank, if we click on that, the bank gives you, it's just a Google Doc, right? And I can see there's several folks in there right now. And it's a really comprehensive list of questions. Now, how do I know the answers to these questions? Well, you can obviously, go through them yourself. Or several members of the stream team have done, have worked through the bank quite a bit. I have done a little bit of it, but I would say that Varrola Fox, I can see if I can shout them out here. Let's see. Shout out Varrola Fox. Yeah, all right, I got that right. So there's a link to Vero's channel. They have done a lot more review with the bank than I have. Like I say, I've done some. You're welcome to check out my channel and see some of that review. But yeah, I think Vero spent more time on it than I have. Yeah, Snarf, check out Vero. I don't know that Rufio's done Banky review. If someone's has seen Rufio do it, let me know and I can shout Rufio out as well. But yeah, I think Vero is a great resource for Banky review. And I know that Vero also does a lot of like repetition of these questions as well, like going through them, Anki style, and just repeating, practicing answers and that kind of thing. So I think that's a really great resource for you to help you with this. Because yeah, this is going to be vital. It looks like a lot, but that's why you should start on it now, right? Yeah, okay. Just making sure I didn't miss anything there in chat. Yeah, perfect. So, yeah, and that's also true. So Mavi has done guides on their Twitter, like for multiple of the topics that are in the bank as well. And so yeah, definitely check out Mavi's Twitter. Mavi, what's your Twitter handle? Is it Mavi Sunshine? I forget. I'm sorry. Um, I know I've looked at it before. I just don't remember. So yeah, feel free to share your handle, Mavi, in chat, and check out some of those guides as well. Yeah, and there's plenty of folks that also do Banky review on the 100 devs. Yeah, Mavi Sunshine. Yeah, that's I thought it was the same, but I just wanted to confirm. And so yeah, there's plenty of folks that also do Banky reviews like on Discord itself and the voice channels. Maybe they're not a Twitch streamer, but they still do reviews on the Discord. So feel free to reach out on Discord if you're struggling with Banky. Um, and yeah, definitely check it out. So plenty of resources for this, but definitely get started on it now. So that way, by the time you get an interview, you're at least, you at least have answers to these questions mostly, memorized or understood at least. All right. Yeah. El Robichola, welcome. Is asked, is someone here good with TypeScript? I'm personally not. But yeah, like Rascal said, there's a bunch of people that have been learning it. Rascal is good with a lot of things. Might be able to help you there. Yes. Um, Ooh, yeah, that's a spicy question. Okay, I'll let somebody else answer that if they would like to. Any more questions on specifically on the bank and what it is, what it's for, anything about it? Any questions on this before we move on to the next item? Give you a minute to think about it. Any questions on the bank? So when he says prep, it's just to get this started. Yes, this is going to be, yeah, that's a great question. So the homework says start prepping the bank. And yes, that's basically what that means. Start going through the questions. This is going to be a process. You're going to go through and you might know the answers to some of these questions now. Some of them might need a little research. Some of them you're like, I've never heard these words before. What do these words even mean, right? And so the idea is that you get started because you saw how many questions are in there, right? That's a crap ton of questions. And it might take a little while to get through them all. And so what you should do is make this kind of like you do code wars, one code wars a day, maybe, do a couple Banky questions, research and answer a couple Banky questions per day. And then you're going to be continuously practicing them as you prepare for an interview. It's not so much that you just put an answer down. It's that then you remember that answer, remember the logic behind it, and are able to give an articulate answer when asked. Yeah, robo. So that's yeah, it's essentially just do as much as you can, and you're going to be continuously practicing the bank as you go. Yep. Yeah, that's a great question. Any other questions on the bank specifically? And I forgot to turn on my ring light as well. Just not sure how to answer the behavioral. Oh, comrade. So I actually did a stream. There we go, ring light. I actually did a stream on the behavioral questions specifically. Um, so if you I think it's a well, I don't really want to go to my Twitch channel because it'll be like the endless hallway again. But if you go to my Twitch channel and look at the videos, you should see a stream specifically on the behavioral questions in the bank. So you can check that out definitely. I understand the car method. I'm just trying to think of something good to say about myself using. Yeah. So, I mean, that's why practice is important, right? You might not know the answer right now, but the more you think about it, the more maybe you collaborate with others who are answering the same questions, you might get some inspiration on how to answer it for yourself. So I do have a stream on the behavioral questions. We went through, I think, all of them, or most of them maybe. And so definitely check that out if you would like. Yeah. MRKZ, is this Google Doc with the questions available anywhere or is this private? No, if you have the link, you can go to it. You can make a copy. So I don't know if you saw how we got there, but if you just go to Learn with Leon's channel, Learn with Leon on Twitch, and type !bank in the chat, you'll get a link to the Google Doc, and you can, make a copy and use it as your own. Well, Robotola, I'm not saying that answering from the heart is a bad thing, answering on the fly, but I think it's about getting an advantage, right? Some folks are better than that. Some folks are better at answering on the fly than others. Some folks really need that repetition and practice because they can't, they get into an interview and they just lock up and their brain, flies out their ear and they don't remember anything. So the bank is about getting an advantage and honing your skills so that you are the candidate in an interview. You are the candidate that they remember and that they think, wow, this person really knows their stuff, right? Yeah, and some managers like that you're direct and honest, but it's not about uh, making you into a false person or anything like that or behaving falsely. It's about making sure that you are conveying the best version of yourself so that you are most likely to get that interview. Because the end goal, right, is getting the job, getting the money. That's the point. And so the bank is your best resource to do that. Starfish says, I don't have any real answers in behavioral. I just had to highly exaggerate everything. Sometimes you might. And and that's, we kind of talk about that a little bit. I would suggest, watching my stream where we answer the behavior questions. It's not that you're necessarily lying. It's about that you know your own history so well that you can go through that history and pick out the parts that the interviewer is going to want to hear and emphasize those parts, right? Yeah, and some folks aren't super articulate on the fly. Maybe you're lucky enough that you're able to just, come up with things right on the spot. Not everybody's like that, unfortunately, and there's nothing wrong with that. So that's why we practice. Yeah, having a few, that's a good point. The point is also that you're having a few cues that you recall on the fly in order to answer the question. Exactly. Yeah, it's easy to just come up with something that makes zero sense, right? Where did you find the answers to the technical questions? Is Google? Some of it is Google, yeah. Some of it is stuff we've covered in class, but some of it, and there's nothing wrong with Googling. Googling is Googling is a very valuable skill as a developer, I will tell you. If you can Google well, if you can Google quickly, efficiently, and effectively, that is an incredible skill to have. Um, and it's a lot of time people think, for some reason, people think Googling is bad. People think, well, I need to just know everything. I need to know, and I need to just know how to do it. But no, senior developers, Google people on my team with 20 more years experience than I have. They Google, and that's, if you can Google something quickly and come up with the answer, then people will be like, wow, okay, yeah, you found it. That's awesome, And so that's Google is your friend, and that's why, yeah, you should definitely practice Googling when you are doing the bank. Yeah, great questions, great insights. Yeah, exactly. But it's the majority of your career in tech is going to be not knowing everything, and you shouldn't think that you know everything. The majority of your career in tech is going to be knowing who to ask and where to look. Those, whether it's documentation, Google, people, whatever. That's the major skill. That's what I've learned so far in my career. The Google flu must flow, indeed. Yeah, and I mean, like, there's some disrespect out there, like on Google. People have different takes. People get really passionate about their particular take on a particular answer to a question, and that's kind of prevalent across tech. There's no right answer to these things. A lot of the times, it's about which answer can you articulate and understand, and explain in an interview. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah, you can check out different links. You can you know, get a, that's why we're starting now, right? Because this is not the thing that you want to leave to last minute. It's going to take some research. It's going to take some research, some cross-checking, some asking other people, some explanations. And so that's why this is the first thing on that homework list. That's why. You got to start now. Even if you don't see yourself having an interview for another 3 months, do it now. Yeah. The internet is our forest. Yeah. You can always use Bing. Yep. Okay. So, any last questions on the bank before we move on? I feel like we've covered, what it is, what it's for, where to get it. Um, but happy to answer any additional questions anybody has on that item. And yeah, definitely use the resources that you have to help fill it out, right? Use the stream team. Like I say, Varrola Fox has done a great job. I've done a few streams on it. Rufio may have done. I'm not 100% on that. Um, yeah, the American tech scene is more it's can be pretty competitive. It's the market is very the market is in a good spot right now from an employee perspective, from a job candidate perspective. Um, and American work culture is just tends to be more fast-paced and strenuous in general. That's just how it is. In the US, things are go go go. I'm lucky that my current employer is less that way than some others. But yeah, I've definitely been on the other side of that where it's hardcore, fast paced, push you till you break type work culture. And it just depends. Yeah, Driftwood has a good point there. Some advice. Um, if you're in a virtual interview and you're able to, you could always drag the bank to another monitor and kind of have it there. But I would suggest, still knowing your answers so that you're not constantly looking off the side of the screen and reading and then saying, yes, I would like to answer the question now, that kind of thing. But yeah, that's having it as a resource off to the side is not a bad idea. Know your stuff, indeed. Yeah, and as far as determining work culture, Sassy, I've kind of said my opinion on asking those types of cultural questions. Leon and I have differing opinions on when you should be asking about work culture. I'm not saying that either of us is right or wrong. You know, I think I think in that behavioral interview stream I talked about that, so I'm not going to rehash that now. But Leon has absolutely also shared some opinions on asking about culture as well. Um, and so you can get both sides of it from both sides of our streams and determine which way you want to go. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Great discussion on the bank so far. Let me just take a quick hydrate here. Look at my cup. It's really cute. Got little kitties on it. Oop. I almost spilled coffee on myself. Ah. Yeah, Robotola. So yeah, a very important question right now is, yeah, can I work from home? I currently work from home 100%. I really enjoy it. Not everybody does. Not everybody is a work from home type person. Some people thrive in a office environment. I do not. Um, so this has been a really good cultural shift for me, working from home full time. But yeah, that's another question for you. Personally, Scoots, I have not worked for a non-US employer. My current employer is US based. It's a university though, so they have a lot of international people, involved at various places in the organization. And so, the culture, I would say, is a little bit more um, laid back, perhaps because of that. But no, I have never worked for a non-US employer, so I'm afraid I can't give any personal insights on that type of dichotomy there. Okay. Yeah, there's definitely a wonderful discussion to be had about interviewing, working culture, that kind of thing. And I'm sure we'll definitely be talking a lot about that in class and on future streams. For now, let's go ahead and move on to the next topic, to kind of make sure that we are able to get through this list of topics in less than 6 hours. But that would be preferred, but we'll see what happens, right? I kind of just go with it. Okay. So, but yeah, great discussion so far. I'm really enjoying hearing everybody's perspectives and questions. All right. So, what's the next thing? The next thing is complete your professional links. Okay, so what is professional links? Well, a big thing that Leon emphasizes when he's talking about how you get a job is the main thing that he says is don't just go and apply, right? Just don't just like go and do 200 applications, and just spray them out across the landscape like a super soaker. That's not the way to do it, right? You might apply to 200 places and never get a call back just because, something is wrong with your resume. Maybe you're not conveying yourself well because you haven't ever, shared your CV with anyone or shared your resume with anyone to have it looked over, that kind of thing. And so the way to do it, that Leon really emphasizes, is networking. And networking is where you have a connection at a particular place that you would like to work. Or just a connection in sort of the general sense, like you've been speaking with various other developers, and or been speaking with subject matter experts in the field where you want to get into. And so making those connections can then have them maybe someday say, hey, a position just opened up at my organization that I think would be a great fit for you. Let me just give you a referral to so and so, and get your resume through, and we'll see what happens from there. And that's the most expedient and reliable way to get that interview. And then with the bank, then that'll help you ace the interview, and then you get the job, right? And so these professional links are going to be really vital for you, to help you secure that position. Um, yeah, and that's kind of what we're starting to talk about there, Mavi, is yeah, talking to developers that are local to you, getting a sense of work culture, getting a sense of salary in your area, maybe helping determine whether you want to, work locally, whether you might want to consider remote positions, that kind of thing. So how do we do these professional links? Well, let's go back to Leon's channel. And I'm going to make this smaller again. See it? There we go. And in the window, if we type sheet, SHEET, what you get is a link to another Google Doc. And this Google Doc is a pre-made sort of connection spreadsheet, where you can fill out information about the contacts that you're making as you start to network. And this is, you don't have to necessarily use this. You could use it as a template. You could use it as inspiration for your own version. Sorry about the, yeah, I know it's a spreadsheet, right? So we have to transition from dark mode to bright mode. So sorry about the burnt retinas there. Yes. But yeah, so this is a good way to kind of help categorize these connections. And so that way you don't let them falter, right? You don't just reach out to someone once, have a conversation, and then never talk to them again. The goal is that you create a lasting sort of line of communication or connection with these people. And so that way you're in their brain, right? And eventually they're gonna be like, yeah, I remember I talked to so and so, and I think they have the right skills for this particular position. I kind of want to get them in here for an interview. Um, We should build a dark mode networking CRUD app. Yeah, there you go. Not a bad idea. Yeah. And so yeah, that's what this is for. And so again, you can make your own copy, you can fill it out, you can you know, you could just use this as inspiration and make your own. I know that some folks have made really cool stuff in Notion, which is kind of another sort of a it's more of a specific sort of like list making kind of an app, and stuff, and people have made some pretty cool stuff in Notion for tracking their networking escapades. And so if you, I bet if you went to the Discord and searched for Notion, I bet you'd be able to find links to that. If you want to next level it, make a DT graph, look like one of those pin boards they use fighting crime with the string. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, however you want to do it, you know, however it clicks with your brain, right? The point is to just remember the connections that you're making and keep track of them, and start building the connections with the people that are going to get you that job, right? We had one for client info. That's awesome. Yeah, exactly. So we can see here that the steps are, you know, event name is like, where did you meet them? When was this event? That might be like Twitter. And then, you know, you have the date, you have the name of the person, you have where they work, what they do. You have, and then the important one here is also the spark, which that is the thing that sort of connected you to them, something maybe you have in common or something that they express that they really enjoy or are really interested in. And so that's the thing you want to keep in mind so that you can, um, you know, create a more quickly established connection with them by communicating about the thing that they are interested in. You know, then you have your email, or, you know, you can put their Twitter handle in here or whatever. And then some next steps, including a follow-up. So communicating back with them. Did you add them on LinkedIn? You know, are you following them on Twitter? That kind of thing. Yeah. Okay, so this is the sheet. And again, we got there by going to Leon's channel and typing exclamation point sheet in the chat. So that's how you can get that information. Develop your social engineering skills comes in handy when pen testing. Yeah, absolutely. You know, a lot of these skills are also equally valuable if you decide to go into cybersecurity and become a penetration tester. Yeah, it's social. It's all just social engineering, right? It just depends on what you're social engineering for. Like pen testers are social engineering to work their to get their way into a position of trust so that they can, you know, test and see if they can see if they can access secure information. And you know, job networking is just you're working your way into a position of trust, and so that you become someone that that person wants to contact again to give them a job. And so it's really, you know, the mechanics are similar. Okay. Any other questions on the professional links? Questions there? Okay, I'm not seeing anything else so far. And you know, as far as complete your professional links, I think the goal here is not to like have all of them done, like, you know, have a bajillion contacts already. I think it's more about just like keep working on it, right? Like keep connecting with people on Twitter, keep connecting with people at meetups, you know, just search out those connections and keep filling out that sheet. We haven't been given like a specific goal for Tuesday to have like 50 connections or whatever. The idea is that you're just working on this stuff and that you're not leaving it to the last minute, right? Because I know, like, personally, I'm a procrastinator, or I can be. If there's something I don't want to do, I am really, you know, I'm likely to try to put it off until the last minute. But the things like the bank and the professional links are not something that you want to put off. Not something that you can put off. Um, oh yeah, and also too, that's a great point, Koskoro. Also, yeah, the professional links also include like sprucing up your LinkedIn, um, the AngelList, GitHub, all that sort of thing as well. So yeah, it's not just the sheet. It's not just like, you know, connecting. It's also the public face that you're putting out there on the internet. It's hard to want to do something You're so bad at. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And that's, part of the reason that I stream is because it helps hold me accountable to getting things done. It helps hold me accountable to doing the homework, to learning new topics, so that I can't procrastinate, right? Because I got to talk about it with you guys. And I've said that before. It's like this streaming, helps me learn because it holds me accountable to get stuff done. Need to use the GitHub templates. Yeah. And so you can scroll up in the follow along materials. And you can also find additional resources for building out Angel and like LinkedIn and GitHub and that sort of thing. I don't remember exactly where it is. God, the break's been so long that yeah, I'm looking here. Links. Oh, here we go. Yeah. So the professional links, yeah. I knew there's something here. Professional link submission. That's the submission, but I want to find the where it was assigned. Give me just another minute. Checklist. Here we go. This is another thing too. This is a professional checklist. So this professional checklist is, and I think this may also be a command in chat. Let me just test it real quick. Yeah, so if you go into Leon's chat and type !checklist, that will also give you the types of things you should be filling out for your outward facing professional appearance on the internet, that LinkedIn, GitHub, AngelList, all those sorts of things. And so that's a great reminder of also the types of things you need to do for your professional face on the internet. The bank is almost done. LinkedIn Angelists don't know me. And of course, yeah, it's not that you have to do all of these things, right? Leon is giving us the tools that that are going to best serve us in helping us get that job. However, there may be some reasons that people can't do certain parts of the checklist, and that's okay. But you just do what you can, do as much as you can, and and these are the proven tools that are going to help you get that job, right? So you might as well do as much of it as you can. Do people really use it? Yeah, I don't know. As far as Angelus, I hadn't actually heard of it before. We got to that part of the class, but I went ahead and did it anyway. Yeah, right, Chris. That's a great way to put it. You're just casting a wide net, right? You're reaching as many people as you possibly can, and trying to facilitate as many connections as you possibly can. Yeah. So it's up to you. Again, like all of this class, right? It's up to you how much of it you do. But the goal is to do as much as you can. Yeah. So you can go to Leon's channel, type !checklist, and get a direct link, just like we did with the other stuff. Okie dokie. So I'm going to go back down here in the bottom. Yeah, great call out on, I had actually forgotten about the checklist because I mean, I did it. And so I just kind of like checked it off. Right. And so that was a great call out there on reminding me about the specific checklist with, so not only creating the connections, but also creating your professional appearance on the internet. Can you rank from most important to least for checklist? No, I don't think I can. I'm not going to say that I'm not going to say that, if you're going to just do 3 things, do these 3 things, because you never know what's going to help you get that job. So I would say go through the checklist and do as much of it as you can. If you can't do it all, that's okay, but just do the things that you can. I was contacted on LinkedIn by an employee who's who's gaming for a referral bonus. It's a $2 billion startup. Oh, that's rad. Yeah. Yeah. So like, sometimes employers have referral bonuses for existing employees that if you can, you can recruit, somebody, you get a, I don't know, 2 grand or something like that in your next paycheck. And so, yeah, they're going to be, if you're out there and you have the right skills listed, people are just going to be, looking around on those platforms, looking for people that match and be like, yeah, can I refer you? Because, my employer is going to give me, sweet cash if I do. Yeah, so that's a great example of that. That's why having an online presence, if you can, that's why having an online presence is important, along with doing the additional networking. Just getting your face out there. Yeah, that's awesome, Sassy. That's rad. But yeah, definitely don't skimp on this, right? Don't skip on this because like Sassy said, like sometimes just having your face out there is what's gonna get you that foot in the door. Um, yeah. I mean, if I had to say anything on here that was important, I mean, obviously, no matter what type of online presence you have, eventually you're going to be asked for a resume, right? So, if anything, do all of it if you can, do as much of it as you possibly can, but you definitely need a resume, right? So, maybe if you're having trouble, maybe just start with that. If you have an old resume, polish it up. Use the template, like literally just follow this template. That's what I did when I updated my resume. Follow this template. I used resume.io and just spruced up my resume so it looks better now. Um, yeah, and it is some of it is about luck, right? But you can influence the odds, right? You can play the house a little bit. It's not that um, what is that quote by from Star Trek? Captain Picard said, "Sometimes it is possible to do everything perfectly and still lose. That is the nature of life. However, you can, make the odds better for yourself by following the steps." Well, I think Ronan, I think the current sort of guidance there as far as how to talk about Honey Devs is saying it as an agency. And it's true that Leon has set up an agency, and I'm sure he's going to talk about more about that very soon. And we're all going to be members of that agency. So it's not going to be considered it shouldn't be considered just a boot camp, right? It's so much more than that. And he set up the 100 Dev agency to essentially give us that additional way of talking about the program. Also interchangeable with never tell me the odds. Preparation meets opportunity. Exactly. That's what it is, right? That's what it is. Preparation meets opportunity. Um, so yeah, that's why we're doing this. So don't skimp, don't put it off. Just it's not gonna be pleasant. I didn't enjoy it, updating my stupid profiles everywhere and um, updating my resume. Ugh, it's never fun, but it does help you. Since I updated all that stuff, I've gotten 2 hits from Amazon recruiters, hits from like for one-off jobs, hits for all sorts of stuff. I mean, I'm happy in my current role at my current employer, but I've been amazed at how much. Even I'm like I don't have myself as open for work on LinkedIn. Like I don't, because I like my job. But I'm still getting tons of hits from recruiters, from Amazon, from other companies, just because like companies are wanting to hire right now. Yeah, exposure helps. I wasn't getting this type of interest before I did the steps on the checklist. I wasn't. I had gotten like and you know, I wasn't looking or anything, but I'd only gotten like, 1 hit in the past year before I did the checklist, and now I've gotten, tons without even making my saying that I'm looking. So, yeah, it definitely helps. And um putting yourself out there in the right way online is a big help as well. Okay, so any last questions there before we go on to the um, next thing? Good discussion, good questions so far, definitely. And then in about 10 minutes, we'll probably take a break. Okay, I'm not seeing any additional questions so far, but feel free to ask if something comes to you. Never a bad time to ask, right? That's why I like these streams because they're a little sometimes you try to ask something in Leon streams, and there's just so many people there, right? That your question never gets seen. And so that's why I like these smaller streams because the chat moves a little bit more slowly. Yeah, Mavi, that's a good point. So I could say that I've taught classes for 100 devs, because I have. And Leon is endorsing my teachings and that sort of thing. And so yeah, that's a valid thing to say. And Mavi can say that they prep training materials. Yep, because they did. They have those guides on Twitter, and those are things that can be demonstrated, right? It's not a fabrication. It's demonstrable. If they ask to see it, this is something that that can be shown. And so yeah, that's a great point. Okay, so let's go to the next thing. So the next thing was to create Heroku, Mongo Atlas, and Postman accounts. Okay, so if you're not necessarily caught up with the class, you might be like, those are interesting words. What are those things? Right? Um, and so let's kind of we'll go through each one of them, what it is, how to get it in place, and what you use it for. So the first one is Heroku. And so what Heroku is when you're building full stack apps, Heroku is a place that you can host those apps, and have them truly be deployed to the web. So not a when you're building them, you might use localhost, right? You might use localhost 8000 or a local port, and still have it hooked up to MongoDB, or your whatever remote database you're using. But Heroku, then once your app is finished, you can push your app up to Heroku and have it be hosted on the web and be accessible by anyone from anywhere. Um, have it be really sort of truly live, right? Um, and so yeah, Heroku is definitely going to be a valuable resource for us as we're sort of deploying things to production, right? To live and out of this sort of development test space, the learning space that we've been working in this far. So yeah, you definitely want to have a Heroku account. Um, and in order to do that, all you need to do is just go to Heroku.com and you'll create an account. I already have an account, so I will log in. Give me one moment to do that. I'm gonna pull it over here. And another thing I would highly suggest doing is also setting up two-factor authentication, which is I have that set up on my account. I would suggest that you do it on yours. I'm using an authenticator app on my phone, which gives me two-factor authentication whenever I log in. So I'm going to do that. Okay, and I am logged in. And so it's really as simple as that. Like, just make sure that you have your account set up, and the dashboard itself is very simple, but as you deploy apps, you will see them listed here. Griffin said it's also a great place to access your lost Mongo keys. That is true as well. Yes. And the deployment process to Heroku is very similar to to GitHub, and we're going to segue into that in just a minute. So the first step is obviously just create your Heroku account and be able to log in. That's step one of this process, and then step two is then also installing the Heroku command line interface that will allow you to talk and deploy things to the Heroku online dashboard, which we're looking at right here, right? So similar to GitHub, think about how GitHub works, right? You have your remote GitHub repo that's out there on the internet, out there on a server somewhere, but then how you talk to it is by typing things in the terminal, right? In the command line. And you can do it's the exact same thing with Heroku. You use a lot of similar commands. You use git to commit to a local repo, and then you just push it up to Heroku. So, but we do need to install an additional piece of software in order for us to do that. Yeah. And so how do we do that? Okay. How do we install this command line interface for Heroku? Well, it's literally called the Heroku CLI or command line interface, and you can get there by Googling for it, or I will share the link with you right now. If you don't have it yet, you need to install this. I know some folks are on Discord who are like, well, I haven't installed it yet. You absolutely 100% need this. Please install it. I've shared the link with you there. And it gives you some pretty good detailed instructions on exactly how to do the installation in this article. So, and depending on, it even gives you different instructions depending on what operating system you're using, you know, Linux, Mac, Windows, whatever. It gives you a walkthrough for each. So the first thing that you need is Git, which you should all have by now. Everybody should have the Git, you know, command line interface that we've been using to deploy to local repos and then push up to GitHub, right? That's what we've been using this entire time. And then Heroku is just paired on top of that, right? It's a little additional sprinkle on the cupcake with Git. So it does tell you, and but it even if you don't have Git, if you're new, that's fine. It even gives you a link to installing Git and doing a setup for Git. So if you don't have Git yet, that's fine. Just follow these links to help set it up. Yeah, exactly. You have to. Knowing how to use the command line interface is critical in a developer position, whatever developer position you're in. So yeah, you're gonna have to do it eventually. If some, I know some folks are scared of the command line a little bit, and that's valid, but you really need to just kind of take the plunge and get in there. Oh, thank you for the subscription, Swan Tech. Wow, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Hope you're having a good day. Thank you. So we have links. So with Mac, you can do it directly from Brew. With Windows, you need to, you know, download an installer. You could also use a tarball if you're a little bit more savvy, but the way I did it was just using the installer and just walking through it that way. It's really not a big deal. And there's also links for Ubuntu and Debian or Arch if you're a Linux user. Oh, you did an intro to DevOps. Yeah, yeah. There's so many. Yeah, the command line really can unlock a lot of additional resources for you. Yep. There is a way to install with npm, but they say it's not recommended, so I'm not going to talk about that one. And after you install it, there's some information here about getting started with Heroku. So the first thing that you would do is just type Heroku Login. And so I may be able to demonstrate this. I have a random file open here. I'm just gonna go ahead and type I have Git Bash open here. And I'm in Visual Studio Code, and I've opened a terminal, and I'm using Git Bash to do these commands. So let's just see if I can just do a login here. Just typing Heroku Login. Yeah. And so the first thing it just says, since I have you know, a Heroku account already set up, so I can press any key to open up the browser and log in, and that will establish a connection between my machine and the remote Heroku instance out there somewhere on the server. So it just asked me to log in, and I'm logged in. Hooray, just that easy, right? No biggie. Yeah, no, I like Kuyas. I like that the Heroku documentation is very clear about, you know, people with different operating systems and that kind of thing. So, um, gotta get. Yeah, well, we can work around. So yeah, that's a good point there, Rascal. While we can work around various command line interfaces, a lot of programs have GUIs or graphical user interfaces that allow us to click on things and, you know, drag things around in order to accomplish goals or click buttons, that kind of thing. Um, Knowing how to get down, you know, in the dirt a little bit and do things directly in the command line is an extremely valuable skill to have. You're not always going to be able to, especially when you get into like a higher level sort of a dev position or even a lower level dev position. There's going to be certain tools that just physically do not have a visual interface. They're just straight up code or straight up commands. And you're gonna have to feel comfortable and ready to learn those types of commands. Get good, exactly. Ah. Glad I was Linuxing before deving. I can imagine the command line world's intimidating for folks new to it. Yeah, I mean, it was intimidating to me at one point too. But the more you practice, the more comfortable you get. You find out it's not scary. It just looks different than something that you're used to. So once you're logged in, you can start doing, pretty much all the stuff that you need to do. I'm not going to walk through all that stuff right now. However, what I am going to do is give you a link to a video where we do talk about that stuff. Okay, thank you for the ban there, Wade. Interesting choice, but I'll try to abide by it. All right, all right. Can't say that word for 5 minutes. All right, fair enough. I'll go for it. Okay. So I have talked about deploying to Heroku a few times on the stream. And oh, thank you for the stretch. Yeah. So all right. Let me get to it. So I have a YouTube channel. And that's where you can find a lot of my past content. And I believe I talk about deploying to Heroku. Sorry, I just need to find it. In this stream right here. So I'll give you a link to this. It's called Let's Build a Field Guide to Aliens. So in this, we build a full stack app and we also deploy it to Heroku. I believe so. Let me just double check that. Pretty sure we do. Sorry, I'm just skimming through it to make sure. I don't want to give you the wrong thing. It's still a good example of full stack, even if there's not a Heroku deployment. But I'm going to be sharing with you some additional links to where we also, where I build additional apps and that sort of thing. So there's plenty of resources on my channel and on Leon's videos as well. I think we do a Heroku deployment here. Maybe not. Sorry. Gotta remember my own work here. Aha, okay, yeah. So yes, we do deploy Heroku because I have a later video about adding MongoDB to an existing Heroku API. So yes, Field Guide to Aliens is going to be a good one. I will share with you that link. So if you're struggling with Heroku, and this is a good one for building a full stack app and deploying to Heroku. And then another one is my full stack template. So this is another good resource for full stack because I also give you all the steps for deploying to Heroku, and we deploy to Heroku in this one as well, I believe. So 2 good links there for you. And with that, I think let's go ahead and take a break. And we will take 5 minutes and then we'll come back and we'll keep talking about the things that we need to do for Tuesday. Right. Also, if you just want a general link to my YouTube channel, in chat, go ahead and type !YouTube. And that will just give you a link to my channel in general. And for anybody who's already familiar with my channel, I have changed the name. It now actually reflects my Twitch handle instead of my real name, just because people were getting confused. They couldn't find me on YouTube. And so I have changed it. I've changed the name of my channel, so it should be searchable now as Mayan Wolf Streams. And hopefully that will make it easier for folks to make that connection between me here on Twitch and me on YouTube. Tea time, indeed. Yes. Exclamation point YouTube will give you links to my YouTube channel and where I archive all my past streams. So you don't have to deal with Twitch ads. You can just watch them straight on YouTube. Also, too, I am working on uploading all my videos from the past 2 weeks. They just take a long time to process because they're so long. So the last I checked, they were still processing, but I should be publishing like 6 more videos later tonight. So you'll have even fresher stuff if you check back a little bit later this evening. All right, so break time. Let's do it. Get a timer pulled up here. 5-minute timer. Let's go, and I will see you all back here in 5. All right, come on back, folks. I've got about 40 seconds left in our break. Just giving you a little heads up here. Has anyone did anybody watch the trailer for the new Black Panther movie that just came out like yesterday? I think that's like I've watched it like 10 times. It's like one of the best trailers I've ever seen. So good. Watched it several times. Yeah. Can't just watch it once, right? Oh man. Yeah, sadly it's definitely worth a watch. Um, okay. Time has counted down, so camera going here again. Hello, welcome back. Yeah, definitely watch the trailer. It's like it's wild. It's like the best like I said, one of the best trailers I've ever seen. So good. Yeah, check it out definitely. At the next break, at the next break. Watch it at the next break. Oh man, Comrade. Yeah, the sound, the sound, the music on the trailer is everything. It's so good. Yeah, so good. Okay. Anyway, I just had to mention that. It was very important. Okay. Um, so we talked about Heroku. I gave you some links on demonstrating how Heroku is used. And obviously you can also check out Leon's YouTube channel and see how he uses it as well. Some of the commands you'll need, that kind of thing. I think what's most important is that at the very least you have a Heroku account. So two things you absolutely need to do. Have a Heroku account on the web client, in the website, and then have the command line interface installed and make sure that you are able to log in. Okay, so those things, web account first, command line installed, and confirm that you're able to log in. I would say those are like that's the bare minimum, and then but I would also highly suggest that you also practice with it and practice the commands so you feel comfortable when we actually get into building apps, probably starting on Tuesday, that you'll be able to do it. Driftwood. Oh, wow. Chadwick Boseman was born in your town? That is wild. It's really cool. Oh, I haven't seen the new Doctor Who trailer, Wade. That's awesome. I didn't know there was a new Doctor Who trailer. I'll have to check it out. Yeah, I'm excited about Russell T Davies coming back. I'm a Who fan, definitely. All the sci-fi. I love all the sci-fi. Just any of it. I'm not like one of those people that's like, ooh, because I like this, I can't like this. Like, man, I like everything. Um, Okay, so any other questions on Heroku before we go on to the next thing, which is Mongo Atlas? Any other questions on Heroku? Okay, I'm not seeing anything else, but again, as always, feel free to ask questions at any time, and I will do my best to answer. So, the next thing, Mongo Atlas. So Mongo or MongoDB is a database. And real quick, chat pop quiz, what is a database? What is a database? What is it for? A collection of what? Documents, okay. Storing data. Yeah, it's for storing data. It's a filing cabinet. Exactly. Yeah. Storing. It's storage, right? It's storage of data at a large scale, at a scale that's far bigger than what we could hard code into our apps themselves, right? So, for small things, we might just declare an array in our code and then reference that array later, right? For, 6 or 7 things, that might be all we need to do. But when I have 500 things, 500 different items, each with their own properties, each with their own, characteristics and types, then I don't want to put that in my code. That's not something that I want to do. I want to have an external place where I can put that information, um, and then access it only when I need it. And so that's what a database is for. And MongoDB is a type of database. And yeah, it's storing data for retrieval later. Exactly. Yep. Will I bring back the cat ears from the stray stream? Well, you're gonna have to. I'll bring it back for the next stray stream, but they ain't coming on my regular streams. Nope, sorry. Yeah, nope. That's staying on the gaming stream only. Okay, but anyway, yeah, so MongoDB is a place where we can store data, right? Um, and it is a remote place. It's stored out there, in the cloud. And we just access it when we need it. And there's different types of databases that we can potentially have. The kind that we're specifically using for class is MongoDB, and we access it via Atlas, which is an online web portal that we can use to see our data. Um, hey, Jim, welcome. Good to see you. Happy Sunday indeed. Yeah, so let's look at Mongo. So in order to create an account, really all you need to do is just go to mongodb.com and sign up. I just used my Google email to sign up, and I created an Atlas, a free Atlas account. Now, if you want to learn the step-by-step how to do this, I will give you a link for one of my videos where we start at the beginning, start completely fresh, walk through literally every step because there are multiple steps to this. And we go through everything about how to create our own deployment of MongoDB that we can then access in our apps. And this is what it will look like. Within our deployment, we can have, and it's all for free. You don't have to pay for any of this. All of it is free. You shouldn't pay for any of it. You can have a free deployment. Obviously, they want you to upgrade. They want you to pay them, but you don't. At any point you do not have to. Inside of your deployment, you can have multiple different collections of data. So I could hook up all my apps to the same cluster. This deployment right here, that's all free. I could hook up all my apps to it, and it would work just fine. Even if all those apps have all different data. Yeah. What about the next stream that will be making a game like Snake to get half of the cat ears? You lost me there, Rascal. I'm sorry. Yeah. So Mongo itself is it's just a place to put data, right? That's all it is. And then inside of that, we can have multiple databases, multiple collections, like I've shown here, and each of these databases can contain multiple collections of different types of data as well. So you're like, okay, fine. How do I get here? How do I do this? How do I create a cluster that contains databases, which contain collections? What do I do? How do I even get this far? Well, in one of my videos, we talk about that pretty extensively, and I will share that link for you. Second. This one I do have pulled up. So this is in my just double checking here. This is in my Crud app tutorial, where we go over literally step by step how to create an account, how to set up your cluster, and how to connect to that database that you have created. Need 6 months to work to catch up and watch all of yours and Leon's videos. Well, I would say if you're going to prioritize anything, prioritize Leon's content, right? He's the OG, he's the man who's teaching us all this stuff. If you need help, if something isn't making sense, if you're trying to do the assignments and you're not getting there, then definitely check out my stuff for additional. I'd say, if you're crunched for time and you're just trying to catch up, then focus on Leon's stuff first and then use my stuff as supplemental. As maybe an extra arm to hold as you're climbing up that mountain, right? And so that way you don't have to struggle alone. That's the goal, right? You're welcome, Ghosty Boy. Welcome. First time chatter. I always like to see those. Yeah. So yeah, that video that video, I know it's 6 hours, but you can skim through and you can get to the point where, where you start seeing Mongo on the screen, and you can, if that's all you need, you can you can just set it up that way. So what questions do you have about Mongo? Whether what it is, what it's for, what it does, why we need it, that sort of thing. What questions do you have? I know there's some, like I said, I know there's some folks on here that might be in the catch-up crew, and they're just trying to get, as ready as they possibly can be for Tuesday. And so some folks here might not have used Mongo yet at all, or really explored what it can do. So any questions there? But yes, from now on going forward, Mongo is basically going to be the back end, the warehouse, the delivery van, the warehouse for all of our big data that we're going to be using to power our apps. You took the 6 months off. Wow, my goodness. I'm glad you felt like you made progress. You gotta do what you gotta do, right? You do what's gonna work for you and what you feel comfortable doing. So yeah, I'm glad you're happy with that progress that you made during that time. That's awesome. But yeah, questions about Mongo. And you can also we connect to pretty much any of my streams that say something about full stack, building a full stack app, that kind of thing. You can pretty much watch any of those streams, and we will be working with Mongo. So if you just need more practice establishing your connections, just want to see somebody do it, you can't go wrong with pretty much any of my streams that say full stack in the title. But again, I will, one more time before we move off of this, I will share the link to where we walk through setting up Mongo for the first time. So there's that link again. Feel free to check that out. Okay, I'm not seeing any additional questions about Mongo. Again, if you think of something later, feel free to ask. Okay, so that is Mongo. One other thing I wanted to mention about Mongo. So if you're looking at tutorials or documentation online, you might see things that reference Mongo, using Mongo locally. They might have you working with just commands in the terminal to access a local database. And it's important to understand that there's different ways that you can utilize Mongo. You can utilize Mongo the way we're doing it, which is in the cloud on Atlas. However, you can also host a local database on your machine, and that's just an alternative way to use Mongo. However, in class, we're going to be focusing on the cloud version. So if you ever see tutorials that are referencing local instances of Mongo, know that that is an option. However, that's not what we're doing in class. So for any tutorial that had a local deployment of Mongo, I actually converted it. All of my stuff, even if I was using a tutorial that relied on a local deployment of Mongo, I converted it to the Atlas version. So I stay consistent in my tutorials using Atlas at all times. Does an API you create ever interact with Mongo? So yes. Most of the times the APIs that we're creating are going to be talking to back and forth to Mongo, because the point of MongoDB is to store information so that we can retrieve it, right? So when you build out that server.js file, you're going to be using CRUD commands, or like create, read, update, and delete. So if you think about, what am I creating, reading, updating, and deleting, right? I'm creating, reading, updating, and deleting data. Now, where does that data live? It lives in the database, right? Yeah. So it's a conversation between our code and Mongo database, and we use there's various methods that we can talk to the database. We can use MongoDB client to speak to Mongo in a language that it understands. Lately, we've been using a little bit of Mongoose in our code to talk back and forth to Mongo. But yeah, that's a huge component of building out your own backends for your apps. Is using methods to talk back and forth to Mongo and create, read, update, and delete data. Did I answer your question, BZ? I want to make sure I understood. Yeah, using Mongo is a major difference between what we're doing now and what we used to do before we really went full stack. You know, what we used to do is we would just hard code everything in our code, right? You would have an array of, 50 things, and it would all just be hard coded in your code, and you would cycle through it and return a result, right? Now we're actually offloading that data to another location and then communicating with that location to retrieve the data, right? Okay, good. I'm glad I understood your question there, Easy. Good. Yep. And it's not always going to be Mongo. That's a good point there, Jim. So not every app is going to use Mongo. There are other types of databases out there. In my day job, I work with a completely different type of database. I work with a what's called a relational database, which has a completely different structure to Mongo. I work with Oracle relational databases for my day job. So there's tons of different databases out there. But what's important right now is to not worry about that. It's to worry about learning Mongo and getting comfortable with Mongo. However, after you get that job, you can definitely branch out into other types of databases as well. I do have a video on my channel about working with relational databases. So if you would like to watch that, you can. However, that is extremely optional, and definitely just catch up with the core concepts first, right? Focus on what you need to focus on first, and then if you have some extra time and you're curious, you can look at my video, my stream on my channel about SQL and working with relational databases. Yeah, but yes, you're exactly right. Is there a limit to how much data our MongoDB can hold on the free tier? There probably is, but I don't think you need to worry about it. I honestly don't know. Yeah, I wonder, looking to see if it said anything about that here. I don't even know, but I imagine it's a lot. I doubt that you would be remotely in danger of hitting that data cap. 500 megabytes. Yeah, I mean, that for the types of things we're building, that should be plenty. Have you, Rascal, with all the stuff that you've done, I know you've been really, 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 you know, building a lot of cool stuff, Rascal. Have you come close to hitting that cap? Yeah, and that's the thing that Leon talks about a lot, right? Is a lot of folks have been learning other things, and that's fine. But it's important not to lose sight of the main goal, which is, he always says, go deep, not wide, right? Don't burn yourself out looking into all the different options of all the different things that you could do. And if you're passionate about it, you can learn more. But it's important to focus on the end goal, right? And what he's giving us is the path to the end goal. So just learning new things is never a bad thing, but also remember that you need to remain focused, right? So focus on the core. Exactly. Focus on the core. Once you have a strong core, once you have that strong foundation, then you can build on that foundation and learn other things. 500 concurrent, okay, full stack says 500 concurrent users and 512 megabytes for the free tier. Yeah, and that should be plenty. Yeah, exactly. So Rascal is, also follow Rascal on Twitch. They do really cool stuff. Um, uh, but yeah, Rascal is a really prolific user of the database, and they said they have all their projects still in a single cluster, and they're only at like 90 megabytes. So yeah, you're gonna be fine. Yeah, Mavi, it's a struggle, right? If you are, if you have tendencies to get fractured and for your attention to fracture, I think that's why it's good to just like reference, what is being asked, and have we accomplished what's being asked? And if we have, if we feel comfortable and we have the time, that's when we can explore other things. But it's important to first focus on what is being asked of us, which is why I'm going over this today. And also to real quick, let me just yeah. Okay. So I just gave Rascal 2 a shout out there. Yeah, they're one of those people that Leon talks about being a helper. They help a lot all the time. And they also have a stream now. So definitely check out Rascal. Okay. So we talked about Heroku. We talked about Mongo. Great question so far. All right. Next thing we're going to talk about is I guess if you just shout out something random, it's still it shouts out the previous shout out. So Rascal got double shout out there, which they deserve. Yeah. Um, easy to follow. Yeah. um, all right. So the next thing is Postman. So anybody want to describe what Postman is for? We may not have used it in a while. So do we remember what is Postman for? What does it do? Postman brings me mail. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Great answers there. So yeah, it's for testing APIs. It's for examining APIs. It's for testing our routes to our own APIs that we have built. Yeah, testing. Yep. So Postman is really good. It can be used for, I'm just gonna pull it up here. I don't know why I didn't have it open. Um, it's just a program that is useful for examining and testing APIs, whether maybe that's an API, an existing API that you are trying to build an app around, like something out there in the internet, you're not quite sure how to talk to it. And so you don't want to build your whole app and then realize that you've configured something wrong and you can't communicate with the API, right? You want to make sure, you want to maybe run some tests on it, pass some commands in, and see if you can talk to the API successfully. And then put that information in your app. And another thing you can do is you can test your own APIs, the things that you have built. So sometimes, the error messages that you're getting back in your app may not be the most descriptive, may not be the best. You can use Postman to just type things in and see if they work and see what you get back without all the clutter of having a whole app built around it. You can send different types of requests. There's all sorts of different types of requests that you can send. Maybe you're posting data, maybe you're putting it out there. Maybe you are updating your data, maybe you're deleting data. Maybe, yeah, I mean, there's all sorts of things that you could do. And maybe you're just getting data. Maybe you're just trying to see if the API is even working. Maybe you're just like, am I going to get anything back when I try to talk to this API? And so, yeah, Postman is a great tool to have. And we have used it on multiple of my streams. I think if you also look at the stream link that I shared earlier, I believe we also use Postman in that. I'm going to share the link again because I saw we had some additional folks join us. So welcome to the new folks, by the way. So that link is, I believe that's, I'm going to double check that link. That's should be the link to my 6-hour stream. So it's a long stream, but it's got a lot of good information in it. Okay, so how do I get Postman? Well, it's fairly simple. You can just go to postman.com, and what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to download the desktop client. So there is a web version, but a lot of the things that we are doing are going to be locally hosted. And when I say locally hosted, I mean that it's really just running on our machine. You can access it in the browser through a local port, like port 8000 or something like that, but it's not accessible to anyone but us. And so if we want to test that effectively, we can just download the desktop client and do all of that local testing. And you can also test remote things too with the desktop client. You can test APIs that are out on the internet, but really what this allows us to do is test both web and local content effectively. So I will give you this link to download the Postman app. Again, you can, here's the Windows link. And really all you need to do is just download the app. Don't worry about any of this other stuff. Just download the app and that should give you everything that you need. All right. Oh, thank you for the hydrate. I think, man, I'm about out of hydration here. I'll get some at the next break. That's cold coffee. Whew. That is some cold, gritty, bottom of the pot coffee. That's good stuff. All right. Looking to see anything here. Yeah, and I quite mentioned that you can do API tests inside of VS Code itself. And I believe we do that in a video, which I'm going to share with you in a minute for another reason. I believe we also do some in VS Code testing. However, I would highly recommend Postman. Just again, thinking deep, not wide, right? Let's just focus on what's going to be used in class. And yes, there's tons of great alternatives out there as well. Um, so yeah, but good point. There are ways that you can extensions and stuff you can plug directly into VS Code. And so if you're comfortable doing that, definitely, yeah, look at those options as well. Mhm. Yeah, and Rascal has a good question, has a good answer there to that question. Can we do client-side fetches directly against MongoDB? And generally, what we're going to do is use a build a middleman, build a backend that can then talk to Mongo in via the methods that we can use, such as Mongoose or MongoDB client. So we send the request up to our server, and then the server does probably some additional things to it, parses it out in the correct way, packages it up, and then sends that up to Mongo. You don't necessarily want direct fetches against, directly against the MongoDB database, because thinking about, especially if you have plain, unsanitized user entries, people could do all sorts of malicious things if you let them talk directly to your database. Serbian coffee. Nah, it's I have gotten a little fancy, and I hand grind the beans. Like I start with whole beans, I hand grind them, and then I use a French press to actually make the coffee. Um, so I am a little fancy in that way, but that's about the extent of it. How come I don't use Thunder Client and VS Code? Well, just because that's not what we've been covering in class. And, like I said before, it's not that there's anything wrong with Thunder Client. I'm sure it's perfectly fine. But it's important not to get too wrapped up in alternatives, which then, when something's covered in class, then you have to translate it into that alternative that you're using. And it just adds an additional step, right? It's just more complication for now. Um, and so I think that, right now let's stick with Postman. That's what Leon's going to be talking about. But again, I'm sure Thunder Client is perfectly good and fine and great to use. So after you have that dev job, install Thunder Client and use it away, right? Hand ground coffee and coding, time management at its finest. Yeah, when you hand grind your coffee beans, you do get a much fresher flavor. That's kind of what I've determined. And also, I have this weird hang up about leaving. I'm always like subconsciously afraid of leaving the coffee pot on. And so now that I just grind my beans. I do everything manually, right? Grind beans, French press. My teapot shuts itself off automatically, whereas my coffee pot does not. And so it's just a anxiety thing for me, right? Just managing anxiety. I don't know why. Just that, the coffee pot is like so not dangerous, but just one of those things. So, and it looks better on my countertop than a coffee. French press looks much prettier on the countertop than a coffee pot, right? And it tastes better. Coffee expert classes. I am not a coffee expert. Okay, so that's Postman. And I showed you what the client actually looks like. And again, it looks daunting at first, right? But in the 6-hour tutorial that I shared, we walk through how to use Postman. I'm sure, and we're going to get tons of opportunities to use Postman more in class as we go. Yeah. Yeah, getting the right grind level on the grinder is kind of hard, so that doesn't all just like go up into the coffee itself. In the French press was kind of a challenge at first, but I finally got the right burr level on the grinder. Um, okay, any last questions on Postman? again, what it is, what it's for, why we need it, just in general, what does it mean, that kind of thing. Any last questions on Postman? Stomach just growled. Not really hungry. No. Yep, exactly. That's a good point there, Rascal. Postman can do a lot of things. We saw there's a big long list of commands right here, right? Holy cannoli, so many commands. What do I do? Well, focus on the commands that you know, such as get. Get is the standard thing. We know what get is. If you've ever even seen a full stack app, get is the most common thing. Get data, read data, right? So you can start by just messing around with gets in Postman and seeing what that does. And then, thinking about what are the other commands that I know. Well, I've seen post before, I've seen put, and I've seen delete. And that's all you need. Don't worry about all the other stuff. Just think about those things and learn how to use those things. And really, that's all you need. Like, you don't worry about all this other stuff right now. Just, again, focus on the core. Focus on the core. Yep. Yeah, great thing to remind there, Rascal. Absolutely. Just focus on getting it to do what we want, which is interacting with our APIs. Yeah. Okay, any last questions on Postman? Again, one more time, I will share the link for where you can download it. Again, you want to download the desktop app. There is a web version, but you need the app. So you can use it with locally hosted apps and things to test them. Okay. Good deal. We're trucking along pretty good. I'm happy with what we've covered so far. He wants more coffee. All right. So before we move on, any questions in general about these three things that we've covered so far? Because the next thing we're going to get into is some of the specific homework assignments that we were given. Again, we're not going to go over them right now, but I am going to give you the resources. I'm going to give you we're going to look at them. What are they talking about? And then give you the links to where I have covered them in the past. I stopped following the classes at using MongoDB. Did you go fast from there? We go fast from. Well, we have. So I assume by classes you're talking about Leon's classes, and so we have been on break for the past month. So if you're ready to get back into it, this is the perfect time, right? Because after we learned MongoDB, and I think we covered Heroku like once, we went on break for a month. So if that's where you stopped, then I think you're in luck and you can probably jump back in fairly easily. I myself over the break have done multiple streams. I kept to my regular streaming schedule over the break, but I didn't really add anything else on. We pretty much kept to the same topics that we covered just before break, just reinforcing those topics. And so really you can go back and watch really any of my videos that say something about full stack and get a good, full stack experience of using Mongo, of using Heroku, deploying things, using environment variables, all of that. Did I answer your question, dude? I just want to make sure I understand. Feel free to rephrase it if I'm not picking up what you're putting down. But yeah, if you're okay, good. Yeah, good, good. Great. Okay. Any other questions? Hey, Lost One Way, welcome. Good to have you here. Yeah, we're having a good stream so far. We're literally just going through each of these homework items that Leon assigned for Tuesday, and we've been talking about where to find them, what they are, what they mean, and how you can, set those items in motion so that you're ready by Tuesday to jump back into class. Yeah. Okay. Have I had a good experience using Mongoose? So far, I mean, yeah, I like that it has, so Mongoose versus MongoDB client. Those are two different ways of talking with MongoDB, right? We need to talk to MongoDB in a way that it understands. And there's a couple of different like packages that we can install that will allow us to do that. The one we've covered in class so far is MongoDB. However, another very popular package that I have used on my last two streams, I believe, is Mongoose, which is just another way of talking to Mongo. It's not really anything different. Mongoose just has some additional functionality. Yeah. Oh, hey, Intoboxer, welcome. You forgot all about full stack open. Well, you're in luck, Intoboxer. Yeah. So that's the next thing we're going to talk about. We just got to that point. So let's look at this. And see, all right, well, what is this here? I believe I already have it open actually. So full stack open and this Zell tutorial, those were two things that Leon assigned us a few weeks before the break. So full stack open, and specifically you should be focusing on part 3, which is the link that is, so just use the link that is in the homework. Don't go splashing around to the homepage or anything. Just go straight to that link and focus on the things in part 3, which is what's on this page here. Okay. So what this full stack open chapter is doing is it tells us about what Node and Express are, and essentially what they are, what they're for, how they're used, and what REST APIs are, what Postman is, and then, like I mentioned earlier, there is a REST client in VS Code, which some have mentioned. You can do the Postman stuff directly in VS Code, and this tutorial talks about that. So if you want to learn more about that, you can, have it here and test it out. So I'll give you a link to this. However, again, you can find the link in the Discord right here. So I just went straight to this link. I will share it in chat though as well. There you go. But it's a great sort of bird's eye view of, we're doing all this full stack stuff, but what is it? What is it? What is it? What is it for? What does it mean? And it talks about, using APIs, how we fetch resources from those APIs, how we delete them, and various other things that we can do. And at the end of that, there are some exercises. And so do these exercises, do them. I know sometimes it's like, the homework just said read, so I don't have to do the exercises. Do the exercises. But, definitely give them a try. But if you need some help or just want to code along, hopefully I never asked for it. It's in some repository somewhere. Where did I put it? Yeah. But if you want to follow along, I have done all of these exercises on stream. So if you want to just slam it out by Tuesday, that's or if you just want to, if you like to code along with someone and check your work as you go, then absolutely code along with me. I will share the link to the video where I talk about these exercises and we do them together. However, do also read the chapter first, because if I recall in my video on this, I didn't I didn't read the information to you. I just like went through, I kind of referenced parts of the material and then just did the exercises. So definitely read it as well. Vondi has suggested a poll. Okay. Vondi says, I've been saving up all my points. I would like to poll the audience on the best font to use for everything. I suggest there only be one option, Comic Sans. Please do not put any other options on the poll, as I'm not interested in alternatives. All others are wrong anyway. Fair enough. Okay, we're heading toward another break here. So during the break, I will queue up the poll, and then I will launch it when we come back, and everyone can vote on the best font, of which there will be only one option, Comic Sans. Yeah, we'll do that. Okay, but first I'm going to share the link to where I do talk about this assignment specifically. And we have, yeah, I have a 3 hour and 45 minute stream that covers all of these exercises in this assignment. So again, if you want to check your work, want to code along, or for whatever reason, feel free to check out my stream. I'm going to share that with you here. Hey, Blue Leanie, welcome. Okay, well, I'll figure that out, Laylo. We'll make it work. Yeah, so that's the link to the full stack open homework. That's the link there. I know Chris agrees with you, Vondi. But yeah, we're not going to go through these exercises right now. I went through them extensively on that stream. Just check that out. I'm just going to, giving you the resources that you need to get this stuff done. But also, again, do read this in full, and then feel free to follow my stream for help with the code itself. Okay, any questions on this homework? Guys, I've zoomed in. I can zoom in. And don't do any of the other parts. Just focus on part 3 and do the exercises. And also too, I believe, let's see, I'm trying to remember, we covered this. I don't remember if we did these other parts or if we just did the part A, but I'm sure you'll find out when you watch the stream. Either way, it's good information to have. Okay, any last questions here? Oh, and also too, that's right. So Leon, pay attention here. This is important. Leon only assigned the Node.js and Express portion of the full stack open homework. Okay. So don't fret about all this other stuff, all these other parts here. He only assigned Node.js and Express. Okay. Okay. Cool. Don't go too far. Don't go too wide. Just focus on what the core, right? He only assigned Node.js and Express. All right. So I feel like this is actually a pretty good natural stopping point. When we get back, let's go ahead and take our break now. I'll set up the poll and everything. And then when we get back, we will talk about the remaining 2 items on the list. All right. I know there's a good discussion of fonts happening here. I'm just scrolling up and making sure. Miss anything? Yeah. All right, y'all can debate fonts over the break while I queue up this poll here, which only has one right answer, obviously. Okay, here we go. And I'll see you back here in 5 minutes. All right, folks, come on back. We've got about a minute left in the break, so no hurry, just giving you a heads up. And I'm going to go ahead and get the poll started as well. Poll should be, I'm going to give it 5 minutes here on the poll, and it should be available now. And you can access the poll by looking at the top of the chat window and clicking on the question as it sits up there, and then you can vote from there. All right. So yes, poll is available. Feel free to contribute your answer. Close race so far. I wonder what will win. Yes. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and pause the timer. And get my webcam back on. Hello, we are back in action. And let's get back to it. Okay, so before the break, we touched on the Node.js and Express homework. I gave you the video link to the video where I cover all those exercises. And also shared the link to the homework itself. So do that, read the homework, do the exercises. It's valuable stuff, good to know. And feel free to, code along with my stream or reference the stream if you need help. I don't mean to mark my tendencies, but I voted Comic Sans. Comic Sans is obviously the best. The rest of you don't have vision. Oh, there's some hot debate over the poll options. I'm not gonna. I don't want to taint the results. So I'm not gonna say anything. We'll see who wins in the end. It's rigged. The voting is rigged. Soylent Green is people. No. Okay. Hey, I'm working with the options I was given, so I'm curious to see. I've got my fingers crossed for one of the results, but we'll see. We'll see what comes out of this. I want to stay impartial. Oh, y'all are funny. Okay, next one. So, well, wait. First of all, did anybody think of any additional questions that they have about this first homework assignment, the one I have highlighted? Did anybody think of any additional questions that they have on this before we go on to the second assignment? I've never been more invested than this moment. Yes, any other questions on the full stack open homework specifically? All right. Not seeing anything. So again, feel free to ask if you think of anything later. I know everybody's very invested in this super important poll that's happening right now. If you've just joined us and you would like to participate in the poll, click at the top of the chat window. Click on the question and you will see the options and you can submit your vote as well. Okay, so let's go ahead and go on to the next item here, which is, again, another reading assignment, but there is also a hands-on coding component that you can and should do to code along with this assignment. So this is the ZelWK blog, and it is definitely not something that you should put off until Tuesday. If you haven't done it yet, do it now. Do it tonight. Do it, as soon as you physically possibly can, because this is a doozy and it is going to take you time to finish, especially if you haven't previously done any full stack apps at all. Historical mind stream moment. Okay, well, let's look at this ZelWK. So I have clicked on the link. I already have it open. I will share this link with you as well. But again, all this is listed on the Discord. Took you 3 days to get through it. Yeah, like I say, this ain't small potatoes. But it's very important. It's what we're going to be doing. Full stack is what we're going to be doing now. And yeah, if you did, that's a great idea, Wolven. You shared out, you filled out your Anki while you were doing it. That's a great idea. So let's look at this. All right. So the title is Building a Simple Crud App with Node, Express, and MongoDB. Okay, so those words should be familiar, right? Crud being create, read, update, delete. And so it's those ways of talking back and forth between a server and a database and a client app that we talked about earlier, right? And using Node, Express, and MongoDB, all three of which are vital components for what we're going to be doing going forward in the class. I see the poll results are in, and Comic Sans has won the poll with a nice even 50-50 split between Comic Sans and Comic Sans. Oh no, a tie. We need a tiebreaker. Best poll ever. Yes. Perfectly balanced as all things should be. Yes, I understood that reference. But yes, I would say out of all the tutorials and things we've done so far, this one is the most vital. Is it the easiest tutorial? Is everything correct in it? No, but it's still important. That's part of what makes it important is whether you can follow instructions, deal with things that may not work 100% correctly, but still come out with a viable result at the end. Someone needs to name the next kitten Comic Sans. Well, if somebody redeems their channel points and that's what they want to name that kitten, hey, I'll take that. Got to redeem the channel points first, though. Okay, so this tutorial is vital, but it is very long. So I'm just going to do a quick scan down here. It is a doozy of a tutorial. But what it does is it teaches you how to do everything from start to finish. How to, install Express, how to install NodeMon, how to install all the dependencies you need, what all these different CRUD methods are and what they're for. And then you're going to end up building a simple application that's going to perform all of these CRUD operations. And that application is going to make use of client-side app, server backend, and a database for storage, MongoDB. Yeah, it's a long reading, but it's important. And that's why I say, if you haven't done it yet, literally do it tonight. Do it as soon as my stream is over. Do this because you're going to need it 100%. It may look daunting, and it is daunting. But the more you do it, the better you will get at this process. Yeah, and that's a great point there, Marco. I have a stream where we went over all of this. We went through the whole tutorial. We built the whole thing start to finish, and crucially, I have corrected in my stream. I corrected several of the issues in the tutorial. That's not to say it's a bad tutorial. It's just long, and there's a few things that are outdated. Particularly, goes through using Node, using Express, what these methods are, how to deploy locally. See, I'm going to scroll down a little bit. Okay, there's a section on setting up MongoDB Atlas. This is no longer correct. The setup instructions for Atlas have changed. This is no longer valid. In my stream, we go through and we set up the whole thing with the current method of setting up Mongo. So you can kind of skim over this part, and I would suggest following my stream for this because some of the steps in here might be confusing if you haven't set up Mongo before. Yeah, but then after that, it tells you how to connect to Mongo. It tells you you're just setting up everything from scratch. And in the end, what we come out with is a fully functioning full stack app. So this tutorial is 100% important and vital, and you should absolutely do it if you intend to continue with the class. Darth Vader, yeah, and they do misspell Darth Vader multiple times, and we correct that as well. And so if you watch my stream for nothing else, watch it because we correct the spelling of Darth Vader. So I need to turn off my cam for 1 second. I just need to scratch my nose. It looks weird if I do it on stream. Okay. I don't know why, but my nose always itches on the stream. It's just like it's like a tick at this point. I don't know why. Like I'm live and my nose starts to itch. No clue why. Anyway. So I think you misspelled for search engine reasons. Could be. Who knows? So let me give you the link to my stream where we go over everything in this tutorial, step by step, correcting any of the issues. And also, and also this stream does, this tutorial also does teach us, or I believe this tutorial also uses Postman. So more good practice with Postman. So let me get that stream for you. It's 6 hours, so you're going to have to set aside some time, but some folks were saying that when they did it themselves, it took them 3 days, right? So 6 hours is maybe an improvement if you don't have that much time to spare. All right, let me get it. So this is the same link that I shared before when we were talking about Mongo earlier, but I'm going to share it again. Again, the stream is 6 hours and 16 minutes, so set aside some time. But and I think I actually screwed up that link. Let me try again. Sorry. Try again. There we go. Bobby says you can also change his name to Lard Bartered. That's how I know that. Yes, that's the cool thing about databases, right? Now that we can really build full stack apps, we are in control. We're in control of the data. And that's the wildest thing, right? Before, when we were using APIs that other people had built, we could get the data and we could use it and we could do things to it. But now that we have MongoDB and we have these ways of communicating with the database, we own the data. It's ours. We can build it. We can change it. We can do whatever we want. And that's the true power of full stack, is owning your own data, right? Getting the API in Heroku was a very helpful stream. Good, 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 good. Yeah. I'm glad. That's the goal, right? Being helpful. Thank you for the stretch. There we go. I am stretched. Can we do another stray stream sometime? We will. We will. Yeah, I'm actually thinking about tomorrow evening. I'll announce on Twitter. Yeah, we'll definitely do more stray. We've got to finish the game, right? Okay. So, I know this is long. Like I said, we're not going to go through the tutorial now. What I've given you is the resources to complete this tutorial. And then another resource too that I haven't mentioned yet is my own GitHub repo. Or GitHub set of repos, right? So if you do !GitHub in chat, that will give you a link to my GitHub where I put all of the projects that I do on stream. Let's see, I think we did this one. I think I put this one on GitHub. I don't put everything on GitHub, but I put most things on GitHub. So, I don't remember. But, I mean, if you go to my GitHub, you will see a bunch of examples of the types of things that you could do. If it's public out here, that means you can look at it, you can reference it, you can use it as inspiration for your own work. So yeah, there's plenty of options out here that you can use. I don't know that I actually put this one on GitHub. Yeah, I may not have, but either way, when you watch the stream, I'm sure I'll mention it if I did. I don't remember. But yeah, this is my GitHub. Feel free to check it out. Okay, so again, do this tutorial, do this Zell tutorial, 100%, have to, required, do it. Follow my stream if you need help, or if you just want to code along and do it a little faster. Up to you. Any other questions on this? Again, what this is, what it's for, why it was assigned, anything like that? Or if you just joined us and you didn't see any of the resources that I posted, feel free to ask about that as well. Basically, what I'm doing on this stream today is going through each of these homework items, and I'm not doing them for you, but I'm telling you how to get them done by Tuesday. That's the goal, right? You got to be ready for Tuesday. And so I'm giving you the resources so that you can get these things done by Tuesday for Tuesday, so that Leon is going to be so impressed by how well prepared everyone is and ready to go, right? He expects us all to be rusty, and we're going to be like, nah, Leon, We did everything on the list, and teach us more stuff, please. All right, any additional questions? Oh, thanks, Chris. I'm glad you enjoyed the my first and only gaming stream so far. That was took place on Friday night. Yeah, that was fun. What's the Discord? You can do exclamation point Leon in chat. I can do that for you actually. Um, and that should give you a link to the Discord. I'm going to test that link really quickly. Somebody was saying a couple streams ago it didn't work for them. I'm going to just confirm. Yeah, okay. So that link works. Good deal. There's the Discord. Follow us there. That's where we're getting all these assignments, and it's a great. This is a free course that allows you to learn full stack web development from zero to developer. We've been going since January, but people are starting all the time. We got folks joining all the time. All the videos are free. I am not an official instructor in the course. I just supplement. I'm like a TA. I help out, right? Our official instructor is Leon Noel, and he is a really cool person. He teaches really well. He not only teaches us material on how to code, he also teaches us how to get a job, which is equal if not more important than knowing how to code, right? Is having a job. And so yeah, that's what this course is for. Yeah, that's right. uh, yeah, what Leon is doing is incredible, which is why I do what I do, and to help out. I think this is the coolest thing I've ever been involved in, honestly. um, Decrypt and authorization was a bit of a challenge for me, but you appreciated the stream. Good. Yeah, that was really challenging. But I'm sure that Leon's going to cover it much more in class, and we'll get a much better understanding. How to link the CSS file. Darth Vader, I'm not quite sure what you're asking there. I'd love to help. What are you asking about linking CSS files? Are you asking how to make an HTML file reference CSS or something else? Oh, thanks, guys. Thanks, Madeline. Thanks, Griffith. Yeah, happy to help, like I say. Okay, so I'm not seeing any other questions specifically on either of these two reading, I say quote unquote reading assignments because you're actually supposed to actually do them, read them and do them. So we can move on to the last item on the list, which is, in my opinion, the funnest one. The most fun item on the list, which is do your own CRUD app and push it to Heroku. The Discord link isn't working? That's weird. That sucks. Okay, hang on. Let me try a new link. Because yeah, I just clicked it and it took me there. So okay, yeah, no, let me try to just get a new link. All right, can you try this one? Try that link if you would. And this will take you directly to the page for new people on the Discord. And that'll take you directly to the link for new people on the Discord. Read all of the things, click all of the appropriate emojis, and that will give you full access to all the Discord channels. If you don't do that, then you won't have full access to the Discord. So definitely read everything on the page, click the emojis, and read everything in the Start Here section, okay? Memo Puss, did you try the link that I just posted? I don't know why this link isn't working. Oh, okay. Yeah, Rascal has shared another link, which is just Leon Noel / Discord. So you can try that one. All right, try that one. The short one that I just posted. Try that. See if that one works for you. The leonnoel.com / Discord. If it does, I'll update my command. I'll update MooBot to send that link instead. Let's see, I'm just going to navigate to that. Okay, yeah, so that takes you right to an invite page. Okay, good. So I will update my bot command to send that link instead. Sorry, I didn't realize that that was not going to work, so I appreciate you telling me. Good to know. I will update the bot. Yeah, you can start at any time, Leibniz. Exactly. Yep. There is even a channel for new folks that are just starting, and it is called, first thing to do, go onto the Discord, read everything in the Start Here section, and click on what it tells you to click on. Okay? Because there are rules, there are certain things that if you don't click on the appropriate emojis, you're locked out of certain channels. So as long as you just go through, click on the stuff you're supposed to, you'll get access to all the channels. Your username will turn orange, just like this color orange, once you've clicked on everything you need. And then once you've done that, you'll have access to a special channel that is just for new folks who are starting now. And there are tons of new folks. The channel is called Catch Up Crew right here. And it's for folks that are starting at any level, at any time now. You know, maybe you've never written a line of code before. It's okay. You can get started and you can, start your coding journey. You're 100 server limit. My goodness. Wow, you must be a Discord professional there. Good. Wow. Yeah. But I would say if you're gonna have to kick another server for this, I would say it's worth it. Definitely. So join the catch up crew. Click the links, everything in the start here section. Go through all that. Get your username to turn orange like this. And then go to the Catch Up Crew channel and say hi there and meet up with other folks that are just starting out, and you all can learn together. All right, great questions. Thank you for letting me know about the broken link. I will fix that in the bot. Yeah, and folks here are sharing their feedback on the course. And again, that's why I'm still here. I'm a dev. I have a day job. I am a SQL developer. I don't need to be here, right? I could just be like doing my day job and having my evenings free. But instead, I'm in the course because I love it so much. Because I'm having a crap ton of fun and I'm learning all sorts of stuff and I'm helping folks on the side. So yeah, that's why I'm here, because I wouldn't be here if I didn't think it was awesome. Whichever server you leave is guaranteed to be lamer than 100 devs. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, like I always say, like I wouldn't be streaming if I wasn't having fun, right? And so part of the reason I'm having fun is because 100 devs is so much fun. Um, I tried teaching myself to code. Like I tried teaching myself. So I code in SQL for my day job, like I said, but I've tried teaching myself other languages before. Using Codecademy or Udemy or whatever. None of it worked. I always just flamed out after a couple weeks because it was so boring and I didn't enjoy it. But I've been in 100 devs since January, and I haven't ever missed. I missed one class because I had a family thing, but I've been doing it since January, and I'm still not bored, obviously. Oh, thanks, Bodega. Thanks, Inadequate. Yeah, we made tons of new friends on the way, right? Oh, thanks, guys. You're very sweet. Do I cover testing? So are you talking about like testing test plans and things like that, Maka? Like official testing, or just like how do we test things that we've built? Oh, Leibniz. So I mean, if you're just starting out with SQL, I do have a stream on SQL like that. It's not directly what's covered in 100 devs. I just did it for funsies. I have a stream on Intro to SQL. If you're just starting out in SQL, you can check that out. It should still be on Twitch, or you can do !YouTube and get a link to my YouTube channel and find it there as well. Okay. Glad to welcome some new folks to 100 Devs. So let's go back and Um, yeah, we haven't used like any official testing software or anything like that, or applications. Um, but yeah, I'm sure we'll get there in a little bit. We just use stuff like Postman to kind of test our routes and informally test the stuff we've built incrementally as we go. Postman, we've mostly used Postman for that. Thank you, Scunny. Yeah, that was amazing when you said that so my intro to SQL stream actually you were able to apply it at your real workplace. Like that's so wild. That's awesome. Am I going to be live coding my 100 hours project or keep it to myself? Um, on my streams, I prefer to do smaller projects that are kind of like start to finish deals. So I come up with something beforehand, I test it, I make sure it works. I make sure it's going to be worth your time to tune in, right? Because I feel like there are a lot of folks on Twitch that they'll just sit and code and you can watch and you can tune in. Um, and I feel like that there's a lot of those folks, and so I feel like that niche is pretty covered. What I like to do is I like to make targeted projects um, that are start to finish within a certain time frame, and then run through those on stream and make it more of like an educational thing. At this time, I don't have any plans to do just 100 hours coding on stream, but that's not to say it won't. We'll see how the rest of the class goes. That might be a thing I start doing. I don't know. Oh, we got another stretch here. Okay. Real Scotty. Okay, I was going to ask you that, Scotty. So Scotty freed up 10 hours of their time by by applying SQL on the job. But the crucial thing is that they haven't told their boss that they've got all the extra free time. And that's the crucial point. I was going to ask you about that. I was like, I hope you haven't told your bosses that you have all this free time now. That's the way to do it, Scotty. Absolutely. Yeah, that is the right answer, my friend. I like it. Yeah, yeah, that's the goal is to try to make it something that's like educational, start to finish in a single stream, that you can also code along with and keep up with. What you get for hard work is more work. That is correct. That is the right answer. Yep. Use those extra 10 hours for 100 devs. Once the bosses find out, you'll get sucked into simplifying all of your coworkers' workflows too. That's how I got started. Yeah, see, that's what happens. Oh, you've got all this free time? Let's give you 5 more things to do. And no raise. That is correct. Yes. Like that, it's that if you got time to lean, you got time to clean mentality, right? Except in the dev world. Yeah, good insights there. This is real stuff. Like this stuff really happens, and so if you've not worked in this kind of environment before, this is something to remember. If you do come up with this earth-shattering improvement, know your audience as to whether you want to share that or not, or whether you want to keep it in your back pocket and use that to leverage your next position. Um, Exactly. Work smarter, not harder, and that's the real application of that philosophy. In theoretically, employers would reward that kind of behavior and say like, "Wow, this was a really smart thing. Congratulations on the time save. Would you like to optimize any of your other work?" And they would not give you additional work to do so that you have time to optimize your other work. But that's not what happens. So. All right, so let's look at the last thing. So the last thing on the list here is make your own CRUD app and push to Heroku. Well, I think you've probably got the impression by now that this is something that I have done on stream multiple times, and I have some resources for you to help you get started. If it feels too daunting to build something from scratch, I have some resources for you on my GitHub. So we talked about the GitHub before. You can do !GitHub in chat in order to get a link to that. And in my repository list, you will see something called the full stack template. And so what this is it's a template to build a full stack app. It has all the components. It has all the things that you potentially need. It also helps I use Comic Sans for all my deliverables. Bosses noticed that and rewarded highly. Good for you. Maybe not something I would recommend, but hey, I'm glad it worked for you, my friend. Um, yeah, so this is the skeleton of what you could use to build your own full stack app. Is this everything you need to build an app? No. You still obviously need to install dependencies. You need to deploy to Heroku. You need to do, configure your database, that kind of thing. But between this and the other readings and tutorials and streams, you should be able to use this to build your own full stack CRUD app from scratch. 1 second, I need to itch my nose again. Ridiculous. Okay. I don't know. I think it's like a psychological thing. Template. So I don't have a direct link to the template. Welcome, by the way, Arikobs. I will link that for you though. Oops, sorry. Here's a direct link to the repo for you there, Ari. There's the link. So go knock yourself out. Again, you're not going to be able to utilize this if you haven't already looked at the other readings that the other readings that are in this list, these things here. You're not gonna be able to use this if you haven't already looked at these other readings that are gonna explain what these things are and what they're for, right? So start here, do these first, and then you can use my template to then help you build out your version of whatever app you would like to build. For once, I beat Rascal to the punch. My goodness, it never happens. You want get cloned? Yeah, well, a lot of folks have, yeah. It's got 58 stars and 19 forks. So, and I'm sure some folks have just, copied and pasted as they need to, which is fine. That's why it's out there. That's for you. And you don't have to use all of it. Maybe you're like, why did you do it that way? That's stupid. I don't like that. Change it. I don't care. But if you do make something cool and use this as a base, please tag me on Twitter at MyAnWolf, just because I want to see what you build, because I think that's cool. I had somebody do that last week. They tagged the app that they built using this as a base, and that was really awesome. I'd love to see that. I read the other reading, but what does the proc file do? What is it for? That is specifically for Heroku. So let's look at the proc file that we have here. Look what's in here. There's not hardly anything in it. But look at that. It just says Node Server.js. And if we've built one of these apps before, we know that Node Server.js is what's going to launch Node to tell Node to launch our backend file, right? And so basically that's just telling Heroku the same thing. It's saying, hey, this project is using Node. And so Heroku, please run the Node Server.js command to launch the app. Yeah, that's all that is. Yep. And I did push the .env file. You're not supposed to do that, but I did that just to show you what it's supposed to look like. So that's why that's there. Obviously, the password does not work anymore. It's been changed after pretty much every stream. So you will need to update this to your own database credentials, obviously. And yeah, good point there by Rascal. I believe the proc file is generated by default though. When you do the Heroku deploy, I think it generates the proc file by default. So you'd have to manually delete it, wouldn't you? Maybe I'm wrong there. But yeah, so this sort of hopefully be a good resource for you. And again, feel free to check out my full repo. I have tons of other projects. You are welcome to pick and choose from them as you want to. I would say some good ones to look at would maybe be the Star Trek API and Star Trek client. This is an example of a API backend, just an API, and then a client that can connect to that backend. Star Trek API, Star Trek client, those two kind of go together. So feel free to take a look at those. Star Trek API Mongo is when we added Mongodb to the API. So API, this is just a straight up API with Node and Express. And then This is where we added Mongo to that API. So all of these were also streamed, and so you can find them on my YouTube channel or Twitch channel as well. All my profiles are missing. Shout out to Benny Cisco, keeping me company while I'm coding. Like Deep Space Nine, Cisco? Wasn't that Commander Cisco's kid? Or am I wrong? Okay, so the emissary himself. Okay, yeah, okay, that's his. I forgot what his first name was. Ben Cisco. Yeah, that's right. Yes, the emissary himself, indeed. Yep. Um, okay, so those are kind of some good resources for you to help you build your app. And I can also share with you the stream where we built that template, the template that I just shared with you, the stream where we built that and we tested our connections and we did stuff like that as well. So let me grab that for you. 2 seconds. It's called Let's Make a Full Stack Template on YouTube. And there's the link. So feel free to grab that. And like I mentioned before, I've uploaded a bunch more videos to YouTube. They're still processing, so I haven't made them public yet. But later this evening, it takes like 8 hours for them all to process. It's ridiculous because my streams are so long. But yeah, by this evening, within a few hours, they should be public and you'll have a lot more content to review on the YouTube channel. However, if you want to look at my more recent stuff right now, just go to my Twitch channel. My VODs are all there. So that's another way for you. Yep. 7 p.m. 6:20 on 6/22 is when we made a Let's Make a Full Stack Template. Indeed. And I just shared that. So you have the Twitch link, or you have the Twitch title, you have the YouTube link. You should be good to go. So with all of these things, if you're able to complete all these things by Tuesday, you should be well prepared for Tuesday's class. If you're not able to, which is understandable, I would say if possible, get your account set up, get your Heroku, Mongo, Postman account set up, and do the installations that we talked about. Create an account in the Heroku web client and install the command line interface. Test your login. Can I log in? Cool, I'm good to go. Get your Mongo Atlas account set up and get your cluster created. Again, you can reference my Zell tutorial stream on how to set up a Mongo account from start to finish. And then Postman, download the Postman client, open it up, say, yep, I can, I have it installed and I can open it. And then also do these readings and the homework. If you don't have time to build an app, that's okay. But at the very least, get these things done for Tuesday. So that way, at least you can follow along, right? You'll have the components you need to follow along in class. But definitely, you are going to need to build an app. Just at some point. Yeah, you're excited. Good. Awesome. Okay, questions. What questions do we have on anything? We'll start with questions on any of the questions on any of the homework assignments. But also, we can talk about other stuff too. It's fine. I didn't think this was gonna, I didn't figure this was gonna take like 6 hours, and so, it's only been like what, let's see. Yeah, 2 hours and 41 minutes. So I would say we've got 20 minutes here to chill and just talk about whatever we would like to talk about. Any questions, any concerns, things you would like me to cover in the future, that kind of thing. Also, follow me on Twitter, !Twitter in chat. That's where I announce my stream schedule, stream times, that kind of thing. Definitely give me a follow on Twitter. I promise I won't spam you. I really just, on Twitter, the only thing I do is just post stream information. Marvel asks, what is the most ethically questionable thing related to coding that I've done? Ethically questionable. Huh. Well, so I will say I actually got my start straight out of college. I worked for a health insurance company, which in the US, I think the whole health insurance industry is slightly ethically questionable, given that, they base cost of care on, or cost of insurance on conditions that the person, the recipient of that insurance has no control over. Um, so I would say, yeah, that's probably the most, just in general, that's the most ethically questionable coding I was involved in was when I worked for a health insurance company. I'm not saying health insurance is bad in itself. This is all just personal opinion. No problem, Tara Knight. Yeah, I like talking to y'all. Drunk drunk Uncle Grandma. Drunk Uncle Grandma says, entry level SQL, common Windows, Excel formulas, and how to. So I do have a stream on entry level SQL. I did that a couple weeks ago. We can, and it is on YouTube now. So let me grab that for you. If you want to learn SQL, again, I'm not saying that you should at this point. If you're behind on other parts of the class, then don't learn SQL right now. However, if you are all caught up and you want to learn more, then, sorry. There we go. Okay. That's my link to an intro to SQL stream that I did. We talk about learning basic SQL, how to do queries, how to do basic insert, update, delete operations, and we do some practice in a sandbox. So you're welcome to code along with that stream and learn some basic SQL if you have the time to. Yeah, and SQL is good to know in general. Normally, I don't like to teach things that are off topic, quote unquote, off topic for class. But SQL is one of those things, it's just everywhere. And so once you have the time, again, if you're behind on class, do not watch that right now. Get caught up first. And then when you're comfortable and you have some free time, then learn that. Okay, what do we got? Coding saved my sanity. Wow, yeah. I'm glad you found something that you can be passionate about and that's good for your mental health. Can we cover sending data from EJS to JavaScript to server instead of EJS straight to server? It's the one issue I ran into when building my app, especially headers were confusing. So yes, I believe we did that. Let me think. I believe we did that. So if you look at the Star Trek Field Guide to Aliens stream, I believe in that I can look at the repo here. I believe we had maybe not, maybe I'm wrong. No, because that was just reads, so never mind. We don't have a main.js in that one. I'm sure I did one where we had a main.js, main.js, and we did some additional processing. Hang on. Yeah, oh, in my database builder, that was it. Yeah. Yes, exactly. So if you want references on how to send things from your EJS to a main.js file to a server, like using fetches in main.js and then talking to your server.js, look at this repo. This is my database builder. I will link you to that. And I have multiple examples there. It's a full CRUD app. And yeah, it does all of the CRUD operations. And it also has a main.js and a server.js. Marble says, make sure to learn SQL. How else will you be able to test if you can do some injection and get some free stuff from website stores? Yeah. Knowing enough about SQL to know how it can be abused is also something that you can be aware of when you're building your own apps, as to know, like, oh, actually, I could probably put some SQL in here and, edit data on the back end. It's just good to be aware of how SQL can be used in that way as well. Oh, you're wondering what you're wondering what common Excel formulas I use. Okay, yeah. I do plan to do a stream on Excel here someday. Um, Probably the most common Excel formulas I use are if, um, the if formula, VLOOKUPs, um, yeah, those are probably the two most common ones. I don't use Excel as much as I used to. When I was a data analyst, I used Excel all the time. Yeah, if VLOOKUPs and pivot tables were probably the most common things that I used. But there's a lot of other cool tricks that you can do, and so I do plan to cover that at some point in a dedicated stream. If here's how you can make Excel work for you, type of a thing. I have a question. Do we need to create a new database on MongoDB for each CRUD app or API that we create? That's a really good question. Um, so we're just going to take a look here at mine. So we can see that I have a lot of databases here, right? And you can tell that some of them are labeled for certain tasks. However, whether or not you create a new database for your app depends on whether you need one. If you have an app with a bunch of existing data in it that is the same type of data that you want for your app, like if you have two apps that are doing different things but can access the same data, then you don't need a new database. You can just reference the existing one. However, if you're doing two apps that do need entirely different data on the back end, then yeah, create a new database. It really depends on what you're trying to do. You don't do you have to create a new database for each CRUD app? No. It depends on what you're trying to accomplish. You can always reference an existing database and an existing collection if you would like to. More casual of a question. What sort of things do you enjoy doing outside of work on 100 devs? Any hobbies or talents? Oh, I spend a lot, I hang out with my dog. We go hiking and stuff. I ride my bike. I do own my house. So obviously there's constantly things that need to be done on the house, right? So work on that, work in the yard, and foster kittens. That's a lot of what I do. That's plenty, believe me. Good old Bobby Tables, yeah. That's a SQL injection for you. Welcome, lunch. First time chatter, hello. I'm starting to like and get consistent with Code Wars, so I'm curious to see what people think are the level cues that are generally asked for in job interviews. Yeah, I'm gonna let chat answer that one. I have not had the type of interview where those sorts of questions were asked of me. So if any folks have had that kind of experience, please feel free to share your thoughts. Driftwood says, I listened to a podcast of a guy who made his license plate name say null. And due to lack of data sanitation, he received a ton of tickets in the mail where information for individuals without license plates were entered as null. Yeah. Podcast goes on to discuss people who literally have the last name null and how much trouble they have with databases within companies. Lessons to take away, always sanitize your data. Yeah, that's why knowing a little bit of SQL is good because it clues you into the types of things that can happen if your data isn't properly, stripped of dangerous things before it reaches your database, right? Yeah. Sounds like a great life. Yeah, it is for the most part. Yeah. Do you have any tips on getting started on freelancing and how your process was to find your first client? I'm going to switch back to a darker screen there so I'm not burning your eyeballs. Yeah, so I got started on freelancing through networking, actually. Like Leon always says, I had links out there, like, out on the web, let me know if you need stuff, I'll build you a website, that sort of thing. Didn't get nothing. I'd recruiters reaching out to me for jobs, but not for like build me a website type stuff. And so how I eventually got that client was through family. My aunt worked with someone, and that someone's wife needed a website built. And so my aunt sent me a text. She was like, "You're doing websites, right?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And like, "Okay, I'm gonna send you somebody." And so that's how I got this client. Yeah. So it was networking, right? Networking. I just put it out there. I put it out into, with family, with friends. Hey, I'm building websites now. If you know of anybody that needs a website, send them my way. And yeah, it's been a good experience so far. I'm not done yet. The client has encountered some challenges on their side, so I'm kind of in a holding pattern right now. But I followed Leon's advice. I used the contract that Leon specified. I used the type of proposal that he specified. I got 50% up front. And all of those things were really vital in creating a good relationship with the client. Yeah. What is my favorite pizza? Well, I like a good veggie pizza, like a pizza with a bunch of veggies on it. No onions. I don't like onions, but like pretty much every other veggie, just pile it on. I'm a vegetarian, so a good veggie pizza that's like really spicy with like peppers and stuff on it is super delicious. It's pretty cool to think that those of us who are doing 6 Qs might be close to being successful in an interview. Absolutely, I would say so, certainly. Yeah. Yeah, and but that's a good point there, Rascal. Leon mentioned last class that many folks have gotten the job without any technical interview at all, and that was kind of my experience. So I'm a senior developer, SQL developer, and I moved. So I was originally a data analyst at my current employer. I decided I wanted to be a developer full time because I like it. It's fun. And so I applied for a senior dev role. I networked with the manager. I've talked about this more in depth on previous streams, but in general, I networked. And then in the interview itself, I was only asked one slightly technical question, and that was to look at some SQL code that was already written and say, what is this? And describe what the code does. I didn't have to write anything. I just had to read some SQL and be like, what does this do? And it was not difficult SQL. It was a simple select statement with a join and some transformations on the data. So not hard for someone with a basic knowledge of SQL, basic to intermediate knowledge of SQL. So yeah, it wasn't a nightmare. Mavi talks about getting clients. They said, I spoke to several groups of people I knew from work and courses on, I spoke to several groups of people I knew from work and courses on WhatsApp and other sites, and that worked. Yeah. So reaching out to your network of friends or family, that can be huge in helping you land a client. Veggies for the win. Absolutely. Robo Oso, so we have finished with all of the items on the list. We are just kind of doing a general discussion for the next few minutes here, and then I think I'm probably going to wrap it up. But you can always catch the VOD and see what you missed. Because yeah, the VOD is available now. You can just go straight to my channel and start watching it if you would like to. It will be up on Twitch for 60 days, and then it goes to YouTube before it expires. So, mushroom and onion. Oh boy, I respect that. Button guy is a hero to all of us. Yeah. Sometimes it's very humbling seeing one-line solutions on Code Wars when you've written a book. Well, the important thing to remember is that the one-line solution isn't always the most practical or best solution. Sometimes it's just a Code Wars solution. So what matters is whether you solve it. It doesn't matter how you solve it, but can you solve it? All hail button guy. Can I do a stream about a CRUD app using Postgres? So I believe we are going to eventually cover Postgres in the in class itself toward the end. So if and when we do, then yes, I will do a CRUD stream with a full stack app, changing out the MongoDB backend for Postgres SQL. Yeah, I will, but I'm not going to do it now. I'm going to wait until if and when we cover that in class. Ego solution, yeah. All right, well, we got about 5 minutes left, I would say. We're going to go ahead and wrap this up here at 6 for a nice even 3 hours. So I feel like this went really well today. We covered everything on the list here. I gave you the resources that you need. If you missed anything, go back and watch the VOD. And feel free to check out any of my other content, any of my repos, any of my streams. It is there to help you. So take a look, take a browse, and grab what you need. And if you do make something cool with any of my templates or any of my references or anything like that, please, please, please share it with me on Twitter. I love to see those. I look at every single one, and I think they're really cool. Try to go for one-liners every time, but solving it matters more. Exactly. Oh, thank you, R. Kurtz. Welcome. First time chatter. Yeah. Welcome in. $100 project going to be a Comic Sans fan page. Ooh. Yeah. So any last questions? We've still got 5 minutes. 5 minutes is a lot of time. Any last questions for me about anything in general? While you're thinking, I'm going to queue up somebody that we can raid. And also, I welcome any suggestions on someone to raid as well. How did I find out about 100 devs? I saw a post on Reddit. I am a prolific browser of Reddit. I don't really contribute, but I do browse Reddit quite a bit. And yeah, I'm just a lurker, really. And so yeah, I saw a post on Reddit and I was like, this is too good to be true, but I'm going to take a look anyway. And turns out it's not too good to be true. It really is true, which is amazing in itself. Oh, thanks, guys. Lurkers unite. I love my 10-year-old Reddit account with 3 posts. Count the Shell says, is there an advantage to using NoSQL versus SQL database when you only need to store a user and password and data that can be only accessed by the users who create it? So the best choice is, sometimes there isn't a best choice. Sometimes there's what you're familiar with and what has the best tools to help you use it. So I'm more familiar with SQL databases, but I do believe that for web apps and things like that, I mean, Mongo has, there's all these built-in things that we can use to just talk very simply back and forth to a MongoDB database. We have Mongoose, we have MongoDB client, and all these are written in a language that we know and understand. And I believe Leon is going to share with us very soon some tools that we can also install with Express, that are going to hopefully help us make passwords and stuff even simpler. So I would say let's learn about authentication in class, and then you can make that decision independently as to whether you want to, stick with Mongo or try to set something else up. Yeah, we're carrying boats and logs, exactly. Ian Douglas for the raid. Okay, yeah. Just made a full name mine so I don't misplace any other stuff. Nice. Yeah, we can raid Ian Douglas. Oh, are they not on anymore? Yeah, and I think that's why Leon covers MongoDB, is because it's so JavaScript friendly. So you don't have to learn a completely separate language, because SQL is a completely separate language. Now, are there ways to use SQL without really knowing SQL? Yes. You can use GUI-based tools. I believe like Prisma is one of them and stuff like that. But to really understand what's happening, you got to know SQL itself, which is a different language than JavaScript. And so if we're trying to keep things, in the same bucket of knowledge, then, sticking with MongoDB is probably the better choice just for our general learning simplicity. However, again, not saying that you wouldn't want to use SQL in the future. Yeah, I mean, I would say let's, stick with what you know unless you have a very valid reason to switch to SQL because you'd have to learn a whole new language, a whole new way of hooking things up versus what we've already learned in class, which is good for most things. Yeah. Okay, any last questions? And also any other raid suggestions? It looks like the person that was suggested maybe isn't on anymore. But still, I appreciate the suggestion. So any other raid suggestions? Um, I see that we have Lana Lux, but I believe they're playing Mass Effect right now. They're gaming, so no coding today. Coder Girl Chan is also on, but they're playing Fall Guys. Um, and we also have CM Griffing. I believe we just raided Griffing though, and that's not a bad thing, right? We can always raid them again. Um, but I'm always looking for new people to share the love a little bit. Yeah, we just did CM Griffing like last week or so. Um, Again, not I don't mind raiding them again. I just like to spread it around a little bit if I can. Purple Elf, are they on? Yeah, we could do purple. Okay, two suggestions for Purple Elf. Yeah, we can do them. We get purple Elf. Yeah, we haven't done them in a long time. I don't think we've ever rated Purple Elf. I mean, I think we've seen their channel before, but I don't know that I've ever rated them. So I think that's a good idea. Oh, thanks, Burke. Breakfast. Oh, breakfast mom. Yeah, I think that's what that is. Welcome. Thank you. All right. All right. Raid is getting ready to get started right now. Starting the raid. And I will see you all again next Wednesday. So I'm looking forward to it. All right, and everybody have a great rest of your weekend. Do that Zell WK tutorial. If you haven't done it yet, do it right now. Go now. Go tutorial. All right, I'll see you on Wednesday.